and our weekly video segment to take you into the back shelves of your local video store, back where it says horror videos, and where kids are devouring some awful films that we call the video nasties.
Are you freebasing? Inquiring minds want to know.
I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproductions and the thick incrustations dying on the surface.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Monmouth the new Fletch.
The pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite. As for our deaths, come with me and be immortal.
We have such sights to show you.
Gotta return some videotapes.
Hello, horror hounds, and welcome to the It Slays podcast. I'm your humble host, Rowan.
I'm your Clover Bullet Mike.
I'm Colton.
Hey, it's Jill.
And we are back for the most specialist of episodes, the most festive, the greenest. It is our St. Patrick's Day episode. We're so excited. The excitement in everyone's face is amazing.
Slow. It's anime girl slowly blinking .gif.
Yeah, that's the way to start the episode. Just complete silence, fucking crickets. That's all Leprechaun gets.
Yeah, that's all we get.
Listen, some of us are Irish. We just aren't Leprechaun fans.
True, and some of us are like 3 feet tall. So.
Oh wow. Not the Jill shade.
But, yeah, we are back. And, yeah, I figure let's get into it. This is going to be a jam-packed, full of fun. I feel like we're going to get to some of this episode. People are going to be like, I only wrote 2 notes. While I sit here with, I have 2 pages of notes, guys. I'm just warning you now.
No, it's not one of those, is it?
I'm ready. Yeah, Mike's showing off a notebook that basically is empty.
Yeah.
That's what's going on over here. But you know where we're going to start, what we've been consuming, what we've been watching, what we've been listening to, all that good stuff. Jill, why don't you start us off?
Oh, yay, lucky me. Okay. I'll start off with a book. So I read Dollface by Lindy Ryan. I had read, I don't know if I talked about a book of poetry that was body horror. I read that and I hated it. And she actually wrote this book.
Remember something about poetry,
so, I didn't realize it was the same author, but I've been interested in this book for a while. It just got published on February 24th, but I found this at Barnes & Noble on February 21st. So I read it before it was published, so I thought that was fun that someone messed up at Barnes & Noble and I got to read it before everybody else pretty much. But it's described on the back as Scream meets Mean Girls, and that's kind of what it is. It's about this horror
Scream
writer.
Girls?
Ooh, Scream Girls, yeah.
Right?
Which would be Scream Queens if we translated that
right. Scream
to
Queens, technically.
the screen. Yeah. But yeah, it's about this horror writer. She just moved to New Jersey in the suburbs, and she's thrown into this perfect PDA women group who are also parents, and then people start dying, so it's a fun little slasher. So yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, I think it's really fun. And then for movies, over on Straight Jacket Talk, we just did an episode on Hush.
Ooh. Oh, I saw
Mike
you
Flanagan.
log that.
Yeah. It was my first time watching it, actually. It's been on my watch list for a while. So I was interested in the concept because one of my favorite episodes of The Walking Dead is an episode where you follow a deaf character. So I think that's really interesting as a concept in horror. I think it's terrifying. So I was all in, and I usually like Mike Flanagan stuff anyways, but I thought it was really fun. I gave it 4 stars. That would be a yay. Yeah, it just captivated me from the beginning to the end. Great use of tension. That's how you do it. And yeah, have you guys seen that one at all?
We did an episode on it a couple years ago.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't remember. I think we all gave it a yay. It was a crossover episode.
Wait, wasn't
between...
Steven on that for a minute?
Yeah, well, that's what I was just about to say. It was a crossover with every horror movie on Netflix, RIP. And I remember pretty much everyone being favorable on the movie.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I was happy to see that one for the first time. Did a rewatch of Dawn of the Dead. I decided to keep going on my journey throughout all of the
original or the Schneider one?
The original.
Okay.
I'll get to the Schneider one, but
release the Schneider cut.
I remember watching that one in high school, and I remember liking it. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's probably changed. Maybe, I don't know.
No, it's actually, from what I remember, it's still quite good as well. I've watched it since high school, and I've enjoyed it. So
yeah, I'm a Zack Snyder fan, so I'm just gonna love it anyways. Gonna eat that shit up.
Okay.
Sarah Polly, Mother, go 5 seconds without saying Mother challenge failed.
Failed for the rest of the episode probably as well. It's coming. But yeah, I think the last time I watched Dawn of the Dead was, I probably talked about it a couple years ago when I went to see it in the theater around like Halloween time. And that was a fun experience. And yeah, I'm just preparing myself for my Pittsburgh trip, and I got a good refresh on the mall, so when I go see it, I'll remember the spots before it gets torn down and turned into a Walmart.
Aww.
Sad.
They paved paradise to put up a parking lot, as Joni Mitchell once sang. Come on, no Boney Joni.
I like that she's just nodding. We're not a video podcast, but she's agreeing.
I agree.
Period.
I went to see Scream 7. I know you guys also went to go see it. I'm sure you guys will talk about it when you talk about all the things that you watched.
We won't talk about it in detail, though, because we have to now slang. But
true.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on it?
I went with a group of friends, so we had a whole row to ourselves. So it was a fun little movie date for all of us, and we all had popcorn, and we got to see the trailer for Scary Movie 6, and that was fun. So it was a fun little experience. The movie itself, not the biggest fan of. It's probably my second least favorite Scream movie, just above Scream 3. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of lukewarm as a movie. The motivation to me didn't make sense. The killers didn't make sense. The acting wasn't great. The characters weren't great. And I would have just loved Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega to have been there. So I'm a little bit crusty about that, I guess. But yeah, it just didn't land. It was fun, but it's, even a bad Scream movie is not a terrible movie. So it's a decent popcorn flick, I'll say.
We'll beg to differ, but that's fine.
He hated it.
Yeah, we hated it.
Yes, we did.
I mean, spoilers for the episode, but yeah, we hated it.
Yeah. Speaking of another movie that I watched and I didn't love, I had purchased Warm Bodies on Blu-ray for Valentine's Day to watch with my friends, and I didn't actually get to fully watch it with them. We just had it on in the background, but I put it on the other night for our movie night, and man, that movie I don't think it's aged poorly. I think it's always been bad, but for some reason, when that came out in 2013, I was a different person, and I thought it was the funniest, the greatest thing I'd ever seen. And now I'm so sad that I spent money on this Blu-ray, because it's not even funny for something that's supposed to be a horror comedy. Which is really sad. And
I remember liking it when I saw it. It's been a long time, but
ooh, you got to go back.
I heard people call it 2013's Lisa Frankenstein. So you'll probably feel the same way about that movie in 10 years' time.
You've been saying that about
everything.
2 movies tonight.
I have a couple of different movies, yeah. Sorry, Lisa Frankenstein on the mind.
Because it's a good movie, I agree. So that was that. Rowan and I finally went to the theater to watch. Well, he already went, sorry. I went for the first time to go see it. Probably on the last night it was showing at any theater. Strangers Chapter 3. And we recorded a double feature Now Slaying episode with the other movie being Whistle. And so if you want to hear more about our thoughts on that, you can go check out that episode.
I need a spoiler. Does the CGI boar make a comeback in any way, shape, or form? Is there
that a
any
spoiler?
reference, or?
I mean, no, sadly, there's no CGI boar.
It does not come back. No.
Damn. Okay.
It would have made it better, probably, because it was shit. I'll say that. It was horrible.
Well, at least we get CGI boar in Sam Raimi's movie,
Yeah,
Sent Help
true.
this year, so. We still get our CGI boar representation.
I hate it. Stop the CGI. Stop the bad CGI. And just like the other thing I've been up to, I don't think I've mentioned this game yet. I've been playing it for like a little bit now with my friends. We've been playing Dead by Daylight. I know it's been around forever, but I just started playing it and they just had like a 2v8 event up and it just ended, but we had like 6 of my friends playing and it was awesome because we had this huge team. So
only
that
a game
really
that
fun.
Mike's been playing his whole damn life.
Yeah, he's like,
or like I played it for like a year, probably, I don't know, 5 years ago. It was definitely a minute.
Listen, I have a big blind spot when it comes to games, and I've been broadening my horizons because I used to play World of Warcraft, and that's all I did ever. So
I will give you the Dead by Daylight, even in its current should be buried under the ground state, is better than World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, WoW never got you back for midnight? I don't believe you.
I'm thinking about it, like, because I want to build my house.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't feel bad, Jill. I
back.
get it. I sometimes I'm a little late to games too. I just tried that new game Duck Hunt, and it was pretty good.
I fucking hate you guys. You're so mean.
Yeah, it's crazy when the CRT blinks, and it tracks your light gun when you're aiming at it. It's good stuff.
At least I'm trying, okay? At least I'm not going back to WoW at the moment.
True.
So I'm a recovering addict, all right? So leave me alone. But yeah, that's all I've been up to. Mike, why don't you catch us up since you weren't here last week?
Well, technically, even though you would not know it from the podcast because Rowan completely scrubbed me from it, I was there for like 10 minutes before my computer shat the bed and he just edited me out. So
homophobic.
I guess that's probably a good thing because I would have been talking for 10 minutes and then disappeared. Actually, that's not even true. No, because I lost my vocals.
Yeah,
never mind. They would have been talking to me.
I love that you're blaming Rowan when the vocals were lost. Rowan, you should have used AI to reconstruct his 10 minutes of conversation.
It was the perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Ew.
What is the podcast company that I can't remember which one it is? It's one of the big ones, but like whenever you put on an episode that is under their banner, it's like blah blah blah, always human or something. Like I hate that they have to do that.
I've heard of that one as well, but I can't name it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I've repressed it even though I hear it all the time because I'm always listening to podcasts at work in the morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, so technically I was here for a bit, but you could not hear me. So yeah, I guess I'll catch up. It might seem like I've watched a lot, but I really haven't. This is just like a month's worth of stuff crammed into one. I'm trying to figure out where I left off last time. We recorded the last time like on a different day, so I'm like looking at my letterbox and going like, I think I talked about that, but I'm not sure because we recorded on a different day than I watched the movie. So I did my like quarterly go to the theaters and see a movie, and it was actually like when it was still half recent, even though it isn't now.
Yeah.
And I saw Sam Raimi's new black comedy, Send Help, which I'm sure everybody is familiar with by now. Mother Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien pretty much doing a like 2-person show, having a diva off on a deserted island. Mm-hmm. I thought it was so much fun. I was a little bit worried. I don't know why. Like the cast was good and Sam Raimi, I mean, all directors have little dips and stuff in their careers, but I don't know why I thought that this wasn't going to hit right, and it did, and I loved it. And everybody that I saw talking shit about it has no taste.
Yeah, you need to send some hate to Rowan, because
yeah,
I remember when we were on the show. Yeah, I was enjoying it, but Rowan was just like, Sam wasn't sick enough in the movie. He wasn't like the Sam Raimi sicko I needed. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun at the theater as well.
Yeah, to me, it harkened back to Drag Me to Hell, which I think is one of his best movies, which was also not overly sick. A lot of people didn't like that at the time, too, because they were like, oh my God, Sam Raimi's like just, it's like his Marvel, like Spider-Man, like ruined him, and he's so PG. And I'm like, it's still gross. Like, just because it's not like Evil Dead 1, like it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, Send Help, I thought it was such an excellent movie. Oh my God, and I have to tell you, so we had a movie night, and as we do, and we watched 3 movies. 2 of them were short, and I do need to talk about them because they were kind of a wild trilogy. So first things first, we did our usual crew for our movie night, and one of our friends who only can come sometimes was there that night, and he brought this new guy that he's dating, and we had never met him. So this was our first time meeting him. It was his first time hanging out with us and watching movies with us. And I'll tell you the 3 movies we watched. So we watched Greg Araki. We watched Greg Araki's Nowhere. That's how we ended the night. On Criterion 4K, and it looked amazing. It's such a crazy movie. Like, I think people who like horror movies will probably like this because it's like a apocalyptic, almost like got sci-fi elements to it, and it's very horrific. Like, there's just kids in LA and like shit is happening essentially on the last night of the world. Excellent. The Criterion 4K looks good. That went over well. Everybody loved it. We watched an Andy Milligan movie, and I know I've talked about him before. He's like, if he had a $500 budget for his whole movie, that's generous. He's like the definition of like a no-budget exploitation movie. And we watched one called Bloodthirsty Butchers, which actually I thought about Colton, and I was going to send it to him on Letterboxd.
Oh, really? Bloodthirsty Butchers?
Yeah, because it's Andy Milligan doing a retelling / riff on Sweeney Todd.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's really good. I don't think you would like Andy Milligan movies generally, but this is interesting, and it might, if it ever like pops up on like Tubi or something, not that you watch Tubi, but you should definitely check it out or like watch it.
I just added it to the watch list regardless. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I meant to message you and be like, oh my God, like look at this and send you the letterbox, but yeah. So that was actually super fun, and that one was kind of like a test of, oh, a new person, like this is a really weird movie, it's got no budget, like it's over the top, it's campy, like, but the first one we watched was the real test of this new person. And I can't believe that my friend brought his new man and watched this. So we all know each other really well, so this was not awkward for us, but we started the night off with a 1 hour long 70s, again, low budget, like really, really low budget, hardcore gay porn riff on The Exorcist.
Of course you did.
Hell yeah.
And it's called Sex Demon from 1975. It's only been like recently put out in like a Blu-ray by like, I can't remember what company it is, but it's like a small boutique label. Like they've restored it and rediscovered it, and it's still like, even though it's restored, it's still like in rough shape. But yeah, and when I talk, it's not just like fucking, it's hardcore. There's like fisting and shit in this, and I'm like looking over at the couch, and I'm like, I can't believe that you brought your new man to watch a hardcore gay porn movie with us. Like, where this guy gets possessed.
This is sacrilegious. I'm on Letterboxd just looking, and it won't even show me the poster. It's all pixelated
because it's adult. Yeah,
yeah. Maybe I have some weird settings on that I can't see it, but yeah, all the posters for it are pixelated. So this is especially scandalous.
Yes, yeah, it was scandalous, and it's so funny because like, I'm sure he won't mind me telling this story, but like I was having a dry month, so I went over and like I was just like drinking kombucha or something, but everybody else was like, having the wine and like having a good time, and he was just like already starting to get lit and like commenting on like their bodies and stuff and what was going on. And I'm just like, oh my God, the guy seemed to really like have a good time with it, which was cool, but I was just like, I don't know, man. This is like our first time hanging out together. It was such a weird choice. Anyway, yeah, Sex Demon by J.C. Cricket. If you want to see hardcore gay porn riff on Exorcist, I guess you're going to have to go buy the Blu-ray because there's no other way to see it. I tried, trust me, it's nowhere online. But that was super fun. It was a moment if there ever was one. And in the last couple weeks, I watched a couple of my deep lore movies. 2 of them I actually watched on VHS because I now have a VCR.
Nice.
No thanks to Rowan.
Yeah, sorry.
So now my growing collection of tapes I can actually watch instead of just using, like I just had them on display as like an aesthetic. Because, videotapes are so aesthetic. So one of them is probably my favorite movie of all time, The Talented Mr. Ripley. I rewatch that all the time. Like, it's a 5-star masterpiece to me. It looked right on VHS. Like, I'm waiting for a 4K, but like with the little tracking bars and like the tape getting all grizzled and stuff, chef's kiss.
Nice.
5 out of 5. The other deep lore movie that I also watched on tape was the brilliant 1985 and I'm going to say a phrase and Colton's going to shake his head at me. My favorite action movie of all time.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Commando. But I did not give it 2.5 stars like I did with
No. I see 4.5 and a heart, which, that's very high for a Mike score. So
I know. Yeah. So I was like, I need to go back and I was going to amend my Predator score, but I decided I would like to watch it again. So I'm just going to rewatch it and then amend my score by giving it another rating.
Yeah.
Commando, if anybody hasn't seen it, is the epitome of mid-80s Schwarzenegger popcorn action movie. Yeah, it's actually brilliant. It's so homoerotic. It's insane. So just watch it. I finally caught up on a movie that I've been meaning to watch for the last year and a half, and that is I Saw the TV Glow. I finally watched it.
Sweet.
When you logged this, Mike, I figured it was a mistake that you just never checked that you've seen it before. I didn't realize it was actually your first time seeing it.
No, I've been dying to watch it, and I just never have for whatever reason, because I knew it was going to emotionally destroy me, so that's not something I can just put on. But I think I watched it the day after the trailer for the director's new movie came out, and it completely walloped me. So I was like, okay, I need to watch TV Glow now, and I've been listening to the soundtrack since it came out.
Nice.
So I knew all the songs as they were coming on. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the Caroline Polachek song and stuff. And it's just it's so weird to know a soundtrack before you ever watch the movie.
Great,
especially when it's
yeah,
it's not like a score. It's actual songs, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I Saw the TV Glow. I absolutely loved it. Emotionally devastated me. It was everything that I thought it was going to be and more. Beautiful. It was sad. It was fucked up and weird. It was incomprehensible. Loved it. Just chef's kiss. Yeah. And again, I know I mention it all the time, but I do feel like I need to go back and rewatch World's Fair, because I feel like I watched it and didn't understand it and didn't give it a fair shake.
Oh, you didn't like that one? I can't remember.
Well, it's not that I didn't like it, it's that it kind of didn't do anything for me at the time.
Right.
But after we recorded our episode on it, I've kept thinking about it and
yeah, you should.
I was like, yeah, I need to rewatch it for sure. And quickly I watched another classic movie, Douglas Sirk, All That Heaven Allows. It's not a horror movie in any way, but it's a melodrama from the 50s, Technicolor, starring Rock Hudson. It's just over the top romance, and it's one of the most beautifully filmed movies I've ever seen. Chef's kiss, beautiful. And last night I actually rewatched one of my faves of all time that I haven't watched in 15 years, and that was the original 1975 The Stepford Wives.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh my god. Oh, this movie.
Mother convention,
literal mother convention. And the funny thing is I haven't watched it in so long because once the VHS and DVD that they put out of it in the late 90s, early 2000s went out of print, some goddamn big pharma company now owns the rights to this movie.
What?
Because they bought the studio that produced Stepford Wives, I think it was a smaller studio, and they only put out a handful of movies. For whatever reason, this fucking pharmaceutical company bought it and owns the rights to it, and essentially is sitting on it and won't ever put anything out. So there's never going to be a Blu-ray, no 4K.
Oh no.
Of the original Stepford Wives, which is an absolute horror classic. Everybody knows, even if you've never seen the movie, you know what a Stepford wife is, right? It's in our culture as a concept. Anyway, so yeah, I downloaded it online, and I ordered I ordered the DVD off Amazon. So
nice.
Or not Amazon, eBay, sorry, because it's out of print. So fuck that pharmaceutical company, Bristol, Meyer, whatever.
Don't they like money? I don't understand.
I know. They're just we don't want money. You're a fucking pharmaceutical company. You have no fucking
they probably have no idea what to do with it. I feel like that's a common thing. You always read about movies that some estate goes bankrupt, and then some shipping and holding company buys it, and all of a sudden they have the rights to all this stuff that they don't care about. They're just we're a shipping and holding company.
Yeah, then don't buy the rights to it. Let someone else get it. Jesus. Just greed. It's just greed. It's hoarding. It's we just want the rights to everything. We want power. We want to sit on a mountain of other people's property. But yeah, so that is a masterpiece. Like, it was chilling in the 70s, I'm sure. When I watched it when I was a kid, I was like, this is frightening. And now in 2026, rewatching it, I was like, holy fuck. Literally everything that like came from the feminist movement in the 70s is gone again. Like, especially in the States. Like, it's just... So it was actually, like, super terrifying to rewatch. And it's funny because I thought about it because the other day I was at the thrift store and they had the 2004 comedy remake that they did with, like, Nicole Kidman. And
That's the only one I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not a bad movie, but it really does it a disservice by playing it as a comedy because it is genuinely terrifying. And like the original does have elements of camp because, you know, it's 1975, but like it is honestly, like, to me, just straight up like horror, even though it's satirical, whereas the remake was satirical but more comedy. And I just don't think that it works as well. But I bought that and then I was like, oh, I need to go and rewatch it. And yeah, in my mind I was thinking of, I remembered it being more in line with the Nicole Kidman version and was just kind of like a campy comedy. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot how like fucking bleak this movie actually is. I honestly put it up there with the 70s version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers for like emotional devastation. And they have similar themes of like your identity being taken over and like conformity. Yeah. So y'all go on Archive and watch The Stepford Wives from 1975. If you haven't, you will not regret it. And fuck Big Pharma. And fuck ICE, too, by the way.
At it.
We need to say it every fucking episode. Fuck ICE, fuck Big Pharma, fuck everybody. Colton, what's going on?
Wow,
on
thanks
that
for
note,
that.
Let's hand it over to you.
Yeah, for the baton pass. I appreciate that.
It was more like a chainsaw throw.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, since our last episode, I am now back on my unemployed grind set. Finally, it's been far too long where I've actually been able just to laze around and do nothing. So I have been watching a few different things. We released a couple of episodes for Now Slaying of Scream 7 and The Bride, which in my opinion may be the worst two movies we've covered back to back on that show. But yeah, as always, you know, if you want to hear our full thoughts on that, go check out the episodes if you haven't already. Also, that was supposed to be for Now Slaying until Jill really dragged her feet on checking out The Strangers Chapter 3, so none of the scheduling worked out. I went to go see Psycho Killer, and yeah, it's not very good. It's the new movie starring Georgina Campbell of Barbarian fame, and essentially it follows a crazed killer that I thought was set during the Satanic Panic of the 80s, because the movie has a lot of like older cars and like the way people are styled, and no one's kind of using cell phones and technology for the first probably 20 minutes of the movie. And, you know, they're even like lighting cigarettes from like the old ignitions, like in the cars and stuff. And then all of a sudden someone's like, I don't know how we're going to track this killer. And someone just says like, well, why don't you check on the internet and see the pattern in which he's been killing people? And then all of a sudden the rest of the movie is just like modern. So I think it was like the sort of movie that they were actually pitched it and kind of thought of it more so as a period piece, but then it just wound up being modern because they couldn't make it work. Anyways, the movie's a bit of a mess. It's not absolutely horrible, but it winds up being following this like Satanist killer that literally wants to open up a portal to hell by causing like a nuclear meltdown in like a, you know, middle America town. So not exactly what I was looking for when I heard this kind of like satanic killer horror movie. And, you know, they were kind of marketing it almost as like discount David Fincher. So it was definitely something that was up my alley. And I thought, once again, that it was a period piece. But, you know, I was sold a false bill of goods based off what I saw in the trailer. It was, yeah, it was not good. Not a good watch.
Can't wait to talk
I really
about
wanted
it
to
in
see
December.
that.
Yeah, I guess we'll cover it in, you know, whatever, 9 months time, whatever it is. I've lost all track of time by now. So also at the theater, I checked out Pixar's new movie, Hoppers, which is what I've been describing as kind of Avatar with beavers. And it is a little bit like that. It's about a young girl who essentially, she's trying to preserve this section of her community called the Glade, where essentially she used to go there with her grandmother and just watch the animals and kind of like get in touch with nature. But now the mayor is going to be building a new highway directly through the Glade and ruining nature and, you know, her last spot that she spent significant time with her grandmother. So it kind of goes in this weird way of stumbling into like scientific technology that allows her to transfer her consciousness into like a little robotic beaver. And then she controls the beaver and kind of like tries to convince all the animals to come back, because if they can prove that there's actually like a flourishing ecosystem there in that glade, then they can prevent the mayor from building the highway. And honestly, it was just a cute little Pixar movie. I really enjoyed it. It was funny. The animation was a little bit different than what I've seen in their more recent movies. It was less photorealistic and a little bit more stylistic, which in the beginning was off-putting just kind of watching it, because it didn't look very good for like a 3D animated movie. It almost felt like something you'd see on Disney Plus. But the more it went on, I was like, oh no, this seems kind of intentional, kind of in like basically trying to how they stylized the animals throughout it, that it all made sense and was more cohesive than I thought. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was probably one of the better Pixar movies I've seen in quite some time. I'd have to like consult what they've been putting out, but I mean, it's definitely been years since I've enjoyed a Pixar movie this much, and I thought it was like actually very good. So Hoppers, gets a thumbs up from me. Then also in theaters, I checked out the Canadian kind of masterpiece that a lot of people are talking about now, called Nirvana, the Band, the Show, the Movie, which
Jealous.
I'm someone who's never seen Nirvana, the Band, the Show, the miniseries. Is that something you're familiar with, Rowan?
I know of it. I've never seen it, but yeah, I need to.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with it. I've seen Matt Johnson's, a couple of his other movies like Blackberry or, what is the one about the moon landing? I forget, Operation Avalanche, I think it might be called.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I saw that back in the day, and, I was unfamiliar with his sort of shtick. But this movie is kind of a love letter to 2008 Canadian sentiments, is kind of what it felt like. Without spoiling the movie too much, it's essentially a running gag from their web series, where essentially they're trying to play at a little bar apparently the entire time through the run of the series, where they want to be a band, but they haven't written any music, and their goal is to play a show. But like, once again, they've done none of the legwork. So apparently every single episode is just coming up with a scheme on how to get noticed by this bar and actually play a gig. But once again, they've done none of the legwork. So the movie is essentially that, but it's been 17 years since they've done the miniseries, and still they have not played a show. So it's kind of this time travel story going back, kind of dealing with their younger selves, trying to figure out how they can actually play a show at the Rivoli. And it is absolutely hilarious. There's like a lot of takedowns of 2008 humor and kind of showing like what we thought funny back then and like how it's not so funny now, or, a lot of like what people were wearing at the time. There's lots of just on the street humor of like with random people that I don't know how they captured some of this shit. Like, you get such good naturalistic performances out of just some people on the streets of Toronto, that it was the sort of thing when I saw it here, it was only showing once a day at the theater. But when I went to the screening, it was probably 3/4 full, and people were like dying laughing every 3 to 4 minutes. It was literally like people just like dying the entire movie, and it was hilarious. It was an excellent experience. I can't wait to see what else he does next. I think he's doing the Anthony Bourdain biopic movie, which so. I don't know how that really works with the stylistic sensibilities of what we just watched, but hey, I'm here for it. I'll definitely give it a shot. But yeah, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. I don't know if it's still really showing anywhere, but it's definitely like the best thing I've seen so far this year. It was excellent time at the theaters. And a couple more movies I watched. I won't talk about too much, but for my weekly movie afternoon or movie night with my friend Grace, I happened to pick The Witch last week, which of course we've discussed on the podcast. I will say that I've seen that movie 5 or 6 times now. Every time I watch it, I take away a little bit more from it, and I enjoyed it this time more than I've enjoyed it in the past. So it's just one of those movies that I just keep finding things to enjoy. But she's not a huge horror fan, so she got me back by picking Legally Blonde this weekend.
That's a banger.
It is a banger.
So I have never seen Legally Blonde. This was
fuck?
I know, it's crazy.
Crime.
So I checked it out yesterday, and it is a banger. It was the sort of thing when the movie ended.
It's a cultural touchstone.
Yeah, it ended. She looked over at me and she was like, "Did you like it?" And I was like, "That was a banger." like that was so good. It was much better than I was expecting. Reese Witherspoon was excellent in it. I had no idea what the movie was about.
The supporting cast is bonkers.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It was just so much fun. It felt like a movie from a very different time, which obviously it is, but I liked how I don't know, it felt like a sleepover movie, like something I should have rented, or like, you know, an older sister of a friend would have rented, and then I kind of would have watched it for like in the living room, you know, as we were like playing or something. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I might check out the sequel, but I'm also worried that it's probably way worse.
It's okay.
It's okay?
I wouldn't say it's way worse, but it's not as good. So I don't think you will probably like it that much.
Okay, fair. But yeah, no, that was a pleasant surprise because I thought she was just kind of getting me back for picking like a actual horror movie, The Witch. But no, Legally Blonde, banger. Yeah,
good
for
on
sure.
her. Thank you.
Outside of movies, I finished watching Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I don't know if has anybody watched that here?
Not yet.
Jill, you used
Not
to be.
yet.
No,
Eventually.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm late.
And to tell you the truth, I was a little bit apprehensive with it. Obviously, you know, I think we've discussed House of the Dragon before on this show, but back in the day, I was a huge Game of Thrones fan. I still have Game of Thrones art in my house and, you know, all the books and whatnot. So it's like you come into my house and it's like, why does this dude have a, you know, framed painting of the wall? And it's like, well,
at least you didn't
I
get
just don't have anything else to put. I don't have anything else to put there, you know, it has to go there. So,
everyone and their Targaryen tattoos.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, outside of the first 2 episodes, beginning with like what I would almost call 5-minute skits, which are very painful to sit through and comedically didn't work for me at all. The show was great. It's a lot more lighthearted in tone. I love the dynamic between the 2 main characters, Dunk and Egg. It kind of harkens back to season 1 of Game of Thrones, where a lot of it was more so grounded and, you know, based in like tourneys and knights fighting against each other, like, you know, not dragons and, the White Walkers and whatnot. So it feels like a very small story, but it's very well told. And the episodes, they range in length from like 30 minutes to probably like 50 minutes. And you can tell every single episode, they chose the runtime based on what they actually needed to tell the story, which I really like, because there's lots of shows you watch nowadays where they got to push it to the 43 minutes or the 50 minutes just because that's what expected. With Night of the Seven Kingdoms, if they can tell what they need to for this beat of the story in 31 minutes, they're in and out. And sure, as an audience member, that might be a little bit disappointing just because you're left wanting more, but I would rather be left wanting more every week than just completely bored and over it, you know? So it was the sort of show, like, I couldn't believe it. After the first episode, I was apprehensive. I was like, I'm not even sure if I'm going to actually get through this or keep watching it, because it was just very strange with some of the comedic choices. But the second episode kind of, you know, I was like, it piqued my interest and I kept going. And every single episode, it just got better and better until literally in episode 4 and 5, it's like some of the best Game of Thrones stuff I've seen since, you know, like the prime seasons of the TV show.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's very good.
Not season 7.
Yeah, no, even the bad episodes of Night of the Seven Kingdoms, in terms of, like, once again, bad in the sense of some of the comedy not working for me, or as a Game of Thrones fan wanting the IP to still be treated with respect and not kind of the butt of a joke. It even, like, at its worst moments, it's far better than season 7 or 8 of Game of Thrones, you know? It's, it was a great little show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Great watch. Highly recommended for anyone who's a fan of those other Game of Thrones shows. And lastly, I have to mention a video game. I spent last weekend playing Resident Evil Requiem, Resident Evil 9. And
how was
as
it?
a big Resident Evil fan who's, I think, has played most of the mainline games. I think I missed Code Veronica, but other than that,
the best one. What?
I'm sorry, Mike. Now I'm waiting for the remake, so I haven't gone back to play it, but I've played everything else. It was excellent. I think it's the best Resident Evil game since, I don't know, 5 or 4. Like, you know, I 5 has a soft spot in my heart because it came out.
Is the best.
Yeah, you know, Sheva has been forgotten about, and that's criminal. She should pop up in something else. I understand that the game is problematic in some regards through a modern lens, but at the time, just playing it in co-op with a couple of friends on like Xbox Live, absolutely.
Oh my god,
game.
the first time I think I ever played that, I didn't realize that it would like default like people could join your game. So I remember I was like playing and like the bot, I think I was playing as Sheva and like making Crispy the bot. Like there was an actual person playing it. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like
you're like, damn, this AI is actually good.
Yeah. I was like, wait, no, I gave you all the weapons because I didn't want you to use anything but your pistol.
Yeah, but no, it's easily the best game in years. I mean, obviously they've been doing a lot of remakes, which those are all excellent as well. But just as an original Resident Evil game, I liked 7. I liked Village. They're both fine. But Resident Evil 9, like Requiem, it's like a home run, I think. I really like the new character, Grace Ashcroft. She's the child of one of the characters from Outbreak, like an old PS2 kind of multiplayer game. And basically the game is broken up in between playing as her and then everybody's favorite, agent with an emo bang, Leon. And in her sections, it is like grade A survival horror, recommended to play in first person. Ammunition's scarce. She's not the best with weaponry. She has to deal with a lot of stalker, large enemies. So it's basically you're very much picking and choosing your battles. And it has some like actually horrific moments. And then the viewpoint will shift to Leon, who sometimes will be like coming into the area that you just went through as Grace minutes after, or sometimes, he'll be across town. But when you're playing as him, it's like John Wick. He's coming in, you're kicking people, you have like a machete or a hatchet that's just dicing people up.
Oh
you can parry, he's quipping, cracking jokes the entire time. And it's the perfect counterbalance to playing this sequence where you're on the edge of your seat and actually terrified as Grace, to then come and completely undercut all that horror with just like some fun Resident Evil ass kicking. And the game is just so much fun. It was great to play through last weekend and kind of watch my friends play and discuss it and then listen to all, the different video game journalists go through it. But it's definitely a lot of fun. I want to go back to it and play it a couple more times, as you usually do in Resident Evil fashion. It's just also I kind of want to preserve the first playthrough and how much I enjoyed it before you kind of, peek behind the curtain and see how all the enemy AI and everything works. But yeah, it's a banger. If anyone, I'm sure there's lots of listeners that are fans of horror video games. And if some reason you haven't played Resident Evil Requiem, highly recommended. It was a great game. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've been watching it.
I am so jealous.
It is scary.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, it's not as scary as like, let's say, the Silent Hill 2 remake from a year ago, but there's some really good stuff in there. And once again, it's like if the whole game was Grace, it'd probably be too much. If the whole game was Leon, it would certainly be too much. But like the way they have it balanced, where it's probably like 60-40, it's very well done. I was surprised. It's a great little game, so highly recommend it.
I usually take the day off when a new Resident Evil game comes out. It's always a Friday, so I'm always like, I can't work Friday because it's Resident Evil Day. But I couldn't do that this year because, as I alluded to at the beginning of the episode, I have to buy a new laptop now, so I can't spend $130 on a video game.
Yeah, especially one, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those people that, you have to try and make the most of your dollar in terms of you don't want to buy a Resident Evil game if it's only 12 hours or something. But if you're someone who's not going to be able to replay it a bunch of times, if you're busy, and if you got to make your dollar count, you might be able to wait a little bit before you shill out like $130 for it, right?
Yeah, maybe after I, get a new computer, it'll go on sale.
There you go.
You never know.
It'll time it just
Hell
right.
might freeze over.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much for me. Everything for me, a bit of a longer one. Rowan, what have you been checking out? What have you been consuming?
Well, first I will bring up that I did get to check out Night of the Living Dead, the original. TerraVision presented it in the theater. We did giveaways, and it was a good time. I was curious at like how many people would come out for Night of the Living Dead, like, to watch a black and white movie in the theater. It was like there was predicting snow that night, so I was like, oh no, I feel bad. And it was pretty busy. Like, it was definitely packed. People came out for it, so real good time just to watch the movie on the big screen with like a full audience. And he always like talks at the beginning, and they talk about like some facts about the movie and kind of asks like people if they've seen it before. And like there was actually quite a few people there that had never seen it before, so just like
jealous.
Really cool that their first time gets to be on the big screen. This week I did a couple rewatches. I'll say them. I'm not really going to say anything about them because I'm sure I've talked about them before. But I rewatched Get Shorty, and I rewatched Rap World, Connor O'Malley's mockumentary. I rewatched Crimson Tide and Dirty Work, and I also rewatched Green Room, and also Man on Fire, which I hadn't watched in like forever.
Denzel
and Little Dakota, right?
Yeah. Which is,
oh my God,
it's just like always a 5-star for me. Like it's just like one of my favorite movies of the time. It's like my favorite Tony Scott era. Just like, it's so good. Denzel's so good in it. That whole movie is just a banger. The cuts are wild in it. Like, it's just a cut every like 5 seconds. Your head's just snapping from cuts, and there's weird rock music going on, and it's just, it's a vibe. And then I also rewatched Blackberry because we watched The Dirties because I had never seen it, and a friend of mine that I watch movies with, he was like, I've never seen it, and he wants to go see Nirvana, the band, the long name. I won't.
The band, the show, the movie.
The band, the show, the movie. So yeah, we watched The Dirties, and it was really good. Have you seen that one, Colton?
I haven't, but it's a very Matt Johnson heavy episode now. I think we've referenced every single movie he's made. So yeah, it's on my list, though. I definitely have to check it out.
I won't say much about it just where you haven't seen it. It's Matt Johnson, so it's pretty funny until it's not.
Okay, so I need to clarify. This is not Matt Johnson, Tori Amos's drummer.
No, this is a filmmaker.
I guess this is another Matt Johnson.
A Canadian filmmaker, Matt Johnson.
I'm like, wow, he's really a Renaissance man. Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, if you know, you know. It's just, I've never had a movie that I've laughed so hard at that's managed to then, like, make me feel disgusted at the end of it that I was laughing at it. And,
no.
It's just really, especially like from like Blackberry or something like that, it's just like, it's so different because it's such a serious topic, and it's wild. Like, I highly suggest it, and just because I'm always on my Tony Scott kick, I finally watched Miami Vice with Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx, and it is a banger. Like, I know it's like one of those you either love it or you hate it movies. I really like it. Like, it's all shot on digital. Notoriously, Colin Farrell doesn't remember shooting it because he was so high on coke the entire time. And most of the time it looks like he's super high on coke. It's a vibe, though. Like, if you're into that kind of thing, like, it's a Tony Scott, like, crime, thriller, action film. I loved it. I was getting in my macho, man, watching it. Just having a time with it. I also checked out Father of the Bride Part 2. Since I'd watched part 1 there, I think like a year or so ago. Not a fan of this one. I was a big fan of the first one. I thought, it was sappy and sweet, but it was pretty good. It was pretty emotional. When I watched it, I was like a new father of a girl. And this one, yeah, I just kind of thought they were kind of trying to hit the same beats, and they just didn't hit as hard. The comedy wasn't as good. Yeah, it just, everything about it I didn't really overly like. Also got to check out Taylor Tomlinson's new stand-up, Prodigal Daughter, on Netflix. I'm a pretty big fan of her. I like all of her stand-up. I think she's pretty funny. She's one of the funnier, newer comedians that Netflix kind of pushes. Yeah, it was great. I thought I laughed pretty hard. I thought it was a pretty good time. I'll do this quick and sweet for Colton. So I was with my buddy at work, and he was basically like, I have all of this Woody Allen on my list. I've never watched a Woody Allen movie.
Oh, no.
And he's like, will you watch it with me? And I'm like, yeah. I've never seen Woody Allen movie before either. So anyway, we started off, we watched Annie Hall. Obviously, I think that's probably like one of his more famous ones, and I enjoyed it. It was the filmmaking's like very good. I obviously, Woody Allen, very problematic. But there's like no denying that he was just like a fantastic filmmaker and possibly like one of the strongest screenwriters I've ever like heard. Like everything, the script is so sharp and so witty, and the conversations are so naturalistic, and the performances are fantastic. Like Annie Hall, like young Diane Keaton, Carol Kane, Shelley Duvall's in that one.
It does have an insane cast.
Yeah, Christopher Walken, Paul Simon. Like it's It's crazy how loaded the cast is, and I really enjoyed it. And then the next one we watched was Manhattan. Basically, Trevor and Willow saw that I had logged Woody Allen, and they were like, watch Manhattan, but it's going to be really hard to watch. And it's going to be complicated. And that it is, because it's one of the best looking films I've ever seen. It's one of the best written looking films I've seen. But literally the whole plot of this movie is Woody Allen dating a girl in high school. And he's a 46-year-old man. And yeah, it was basically like an autobiography beforehand. Yeah. So that really takes it down a notch. And it's a shame. Like I said, it's a shame he's a kind of a creep. Not even kind of, he is a creep.
Not kind of,
yeah.
Girl.
It's just a shame because, like I said, the filmmaking is so good. And that one, also Diane Keaton, young Meryl Streep in that one, which, like, she's fantastic in it. Yeah, it's a shame because I really enjoyed it, and it wasn't good. I did double feature that one, which I thought was like a spiritual predecessor. I did, my like every 6-month rewatch of Sleeping with Other People, which is like my all-time favorite rom-com, one of them. So we double featured it with that. And then all that's left, only one more that's left that I watched. I got a chance to check out In Cold Light, which is the new Micah Monroe film. It's got our boy Troy Kotzer in it. From
Fresh off of Primate.
Yeah. And, Newfoundland legend Alan Hocko is a co-star in this. And Helen Hunt, surprisingly. I didn't know Helen Hunt was in it. And man, she's kind of old. I was like, I didn't know it was Helen Hunt. And I was like, oh. But I thought this was pretty good.
She was in her 30s in the 90s. What do you expect?
Well, yeah, I don't watch a lot of Helen Hunt. So yeah, this is pretty good. It's directed by a Canadian director, Maxime Guiraud. I think is how you say his name. It's a French guy. And if you're into like Drive, stuff like that, like it's very like a synth heavy score, kind of neon lit noir film, but it's set in like Alberta and Toronto. It's really good. I didn't get a chance to see in the theater. I might have saw it other ways. And it was interesting because I had originally read like a bunch of reviews on it, and people were like, it's really a choice. The director didn't put captions in, so we have no idea what, when they use sign language, is being said, because so much of it is sign language. And then I got like 20 minutes in the movie, and then I'm like looking at other reviews, and people are like, oh, no, there is subtitles. Basically they released the film in theaters. Some versions had subtitles, some didn't by accident. Mm. So, like, people were seeing this in the theater with no subtitles. I don't know how you would even do it, because it's, it's this noir, but it's also a story about a father and a daughter, and that's, like, the core of the story. So you have no idea what this father's saying to the daughter.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I watched this. I thought it was really good. Very looks and sounds and feels very similar to, like, a Winding Refn movie. Obviously very influenced by that. If you close your eyes, or I guess if you just didn't know who directed it, you might even think it could have been him. It was a nice imitation of it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for movies, other than, all the now slayings they talked about. And I'm still pounding through X-Files and what we now dub Reno 9/11. Still going through Reno 9/11. Yeah, and one thing I should mention, I'm only one episode in. Colton can hate all he wants, but I'm enjoying The Dinosaurs on Netflix. The CGI isn't great, but it's still a fun time. Morgan Freeman, just representing.
I'm not going to come out and hate on anybody wanting to educate themselves about the dinosaurs, but it's just for me. I think Prehistoric Planet, season 1, whenever that was, 2-3 years ago, I got my fill of these CGI dinosaur documentaries, so I'm good. Yeah. I don't need to watch the Netflix iteration.
Well, that's understandable. I didn't see that, so, I'm getting my fill now on it. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, why don't, we talk about, we've been dancing around it, what we're reviewing tonight. And I mean, it should be obvious, like we said, it's St. Patrick's Day. And there's only one thing we do on St. Patrick's Day, and that's watch movies about our favorite little guy. We know who that is.
I'm the Leprechaun!
That's right. It's the Leprechaun.
leave room for sound effects.
Yeah.
That's right. So we last year we went to the Hood, and there's only one place you can go after the Hood, and that's back to the Hood. So yeah, Leprechaun back to the Hood, and we picked it because it's St. Patrick's Day. We do Leprechaun every year. They got to start making some more because we only got 2 years left of these.
Yeah.
No, it's a shame.
It is. It's a real shame. So yeah, with that, why don't we just get into the trailer, and we'll be back for the synopsis and first experiences.
A legend from the past has finally awakened. And he only wants one thing. Okay, maybe two things. Leprechaun back to the Hood.
Leprechaun Back to the Hood was written and directed by Stephen Iram Louie, and the story is as follows. When Emily and her friends discover a chest full of good in the Hood, they fail to heed the warnings of a wise old psychic who had foretold that should they accept such good fortune, they would incur the wrath of a very nasty, deadly, and 420-friendly leprechaun.
So, first experiences. Is this our first time seeing Leprechaun Back to the Hood? Or have we never left the Hood? We were always in the Hood, and the Leprechaun is always in our heart. Mike, is this your first time ever seeing this?
I don't think that I should answer that question. I'm kidding. Okay, so the thing is this. I'm a Leprechaun stan, dyed in the wool. I can't even pretend. No, I've never seen this before. Girl, the fact that you have made me watch past the first Leprechaun is like running a fucking marathon every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's criminal.
In March. Yeah, but you know what? Okay, I will say this. I know I'm going off the rails a little bit here. No, I've never seen it before. And I do have to say that I was worried when I looked at it because I couldn't figure out what the next one was because they're not numbered after like 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah,
they just have the like subtitles. One. Yeah. So I actually had to go on Letterboxd and like sort it by date and like look at it to figure out what the movie we were doing was where I wasn't here last week. And I was like, oh my God, we're actually legitimately going to run out of Leprechaun movies.
Thank God.
And no, Jill, you know what? And I went, thank God. But then there was this small part of me that like feels like a little twinge of like sadness.
A little.
Like, is that weird?
We're going to have to just start doing like all the bad like Tubi Leprechaun movies.
Yeah, like Leprechaun or like Leprechaun or whatever.
Or we could just not do it anymore. Ever again.
Or that.
We could be
or
free.
That. Yeah.
Imagine that.
I think we deserve freedom after 7 years of this shit. Or is it 6?
Okay,
6.
But 6, yeah. But here's the thing. Okay, we deserve to be free, but Warwick Davis also deserves to be free.
Yeah.
But he also deserves a paycheck, so I'm torn. You see the dilemma I have here?
Yes.
It's a dilemma.
The dilemma. Speaking of dilemmas, Jill, you must have seen this like 7 times.
Believe it or not, first time watching it for me since, I just loved the last one so much. Just kidding. I'm pretty sure we all gave that one an A, I believe.
We definitely did. I went back and looked.
Okay.
I was gonna say I'm looking
Ro
here
has to
now.
double check.
We need to break out the Leprechauns. They need to be their own list on Letterboxd. I'm scrolling and scrolling, trying to see what we've reviewed
We'll have
and
to do
rated
that.
these as.
I had to go through each one
brutal.
and look, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
You know what? As soon as we're done recording, I'm going to do it. Leprechaun deserves its own list.
Yep, it's the mainstay of the show, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the one thing people listen to us for, perhaps. But no, it was my first time. I also could only watch this on Hulu in the States, and I know you guys have more options. And not only did I have to watch ads, but also the movie was censored. So, like, every major cuss word or slur was like bleeped out, and it was so odd. It was so aggravating at first that I was like trying to find a different way to watch it, but I got used to it, and honestly it like stopped bothering me. But it's criminal that I have like no other option unless I get Peacock, and I'm not spending money to watch Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
You're not going to order the 4K box set.
Yeah, probably not. I did love Leprechaun 3. That's a banger. We'll stand by
Vegas
that
is a banger, 100%.
Yeah. Rowan, what about you though?
Yeah, so this is one that I never watched. I didn't watch In the Hood when we did that one either. I basically stopped at Space, and I never made it to these. Now, unlike you, Jill, I'm dedicated enough. I own the Blu-ray box set of Leprechaun, so I'm set. I'm set for the next few years. That goes all the way up, I think, to like Leprechaun, and I don't know, Leprechaun Origins. So maybe I'm only set for the next year. I'll have to get the other one. But yeah, so I had never seen this before, so I was quite excited to see. I had thought about revisiting the first In the Hood, and then I was like, nah, fuck that. So I just, went in raw dog. What about you though, Colton? Third, fourth time watch?
Yeah, of course. I've never left the Hood. I've born and raised in the Hood.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it tough? Like, so I don't know if Rowan will leave it in there, but I had a long, like, pregnant pause before I said, and it's Colton, like this episode, because I was debating. I was like, can I say my ninja? Like in this movie, or does that wind up being, too edgy? So I left it. I just said it's Colton.
I'm quite glad that was a pregnant pause and not.
I was thinking. I was doing the math. I was like, am I ready just to ruin my entire career? But yeah, no, this is the first time watch for me. I will say that I grew up in the Valley, which in Labrador Valley, not Los Angeles Valley. That is kind of like the roughest part of Goose Bay you can grow up in. So I mean, not exactly the Hood, but like the Hood of Labrador, I guess, is kind of where I grew up. But
the Hood of Labrador?
Yeah.
I'm fucking screaming.
I'm trying to get the street cred. Come on, man. But yeah, no, it was first time watch for me. Believe it or not, I hadn't seen any of the Leprechaun movies before I joined this podcast, and now it's just my annual hell of having to watch these movies.
I love it.
And I think it's insane. I just went back. The only one we gave a quadruple nay to was last year.
Yeah.
Jill gave an okay to Leprechaun 4 in Space, which is just a garbage pile of a movie.
She liked that princess, man. Jill got a thing for fantasy girls.
So anyways, I'll pass it on. Yeah, this is the first time watch for me.
Jeez, the quadruple, never seen it. That's a rarity in these parts here. So, I mean, with that, why don't we bust out of our dirt graves at the bottom of the unbuilt youth centers of the world? So we can talk about Leprechaun Back to the Hood. And just so people know, it's THA, the Hood.
Oh my God, I have written down da.
No,
have I been saying da or the?
That's the Newfie version.
You've been saying da.
That's the Newfie version.
My bad.
They gave it a 2 in the name and a THA. That is how dedicated to the plot they are for this one.
To the plot, you might say.
Yeah.
Leprechaun 7, dedicated to the plot.
I think like the first thing we have to start with is the fact that there's one thing missing in this, and that is the Leprechaun not once ever says,
"Buckles on me shoes."
What a cameo.
She said it.
Yes.
So good.
She's wearing green.
Yeah, she's wearing green. None of us are. Well, Mike is a little bit, but she's wearing.
Yeah.
She didn't watch this with me. She was smart enough not to watch this with me. So I promised the cameo. I had to really drag out my words there so I could wait for it to come out.
I thought that was a coincidence.
Yeah, that's for the OGs.
It's a gift, truly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I will say, we start the movie off with this like preacher fight, but in the grand scheme of things, you're gonna hear me talk positive about this. I think more so than just Leprechaun in the Hood, because I kind of respect that they actually try to do like lore in this movie, like build some lore.
Girl, they change his lore every movie. What are you talking about?
But in this one, they actually write it down. It has the animated storybook opening. That Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey saw this movie.
I
and they were like,
think
oh
about
my
that.
God, we have to start our terrible horror movie the same way. I appreciated that as well. Just having, a little bit of lore, this history of all the leprechauns and the one that did not go back, opening up with, Sinners clearly saw this and, rip that off, for their movie. So yeah, what a way to open up this Leprechaun movie.
With a great pool of CGI blood when they kill the pastor, that I was like, what a time to be alive for a direct to video. They were just like, let's use like Microsoft Paint to put this blood into this photo.
All
Looked
these
great.
effects. Yeah, all the gunfire, everything looks like pixelated Microsoft Paint. But it was great. I don't know. I respect this movie too. I liked it a lot more than the last one.
Because later on, like when they're building on the lore, that like they do talk about like, oh, leprechauns were like they protected the king's gold, and like I actually did like they tried to really build out some lore on this, because most of these movies just don't do that. So it's just kind of like this crazy leprechaun killing you, and that's how it is. Now, I mean, none of the lore is as good as, Leprechaun 3 when you're presented to it through a kid's computer game on DOS. Obviously, that's the way that all your exposition should be delivered.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't beat that.
It was like, what's the game where it's like you're getting dysentery on the
Oregon Trail. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. The Oregon Trail.
Oh
it's the Leprechaun Trail.
Yeah, it was the same thing. I did like the consistency throughout this movie, that they kept the storybook narrative going with those wonderful edits, the transitions of the page turning.
I laughed.
It never
so
failed
hard.
to astound every single time it came up.
It came
PowerPoint.
free with their copy of Windows 98.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, I'm pretty sure these were on Windows Movie Maker, 100%.
Oh, they were. That was the wipe from like the first Movie Maker app.
So, I mean, a talking point here I think that's interesting is the guy that directed the first one, like he kind of wrote the layout for this because he planned on returning and then... But not returning to the Hood. He didn't want to do that. Once they said, no, we want to go back to the Hood. I'm taking it necessarily just for budget reasons that they felt this was a good idea. Although we talked about it with the first one, that when we did the original in the Hood, that, when I'd watched the special features, they talked about the whole reason they did these were because when they did the market research, they were massive for like the black customer. Like it was predominantly a black base supporting these movies. So, what does every company do? They're like, let's just ratchet it. And, that's definitely what the people want.
I was kind of upset when watching this movie how little the Hood was a factor in it. That it felt like for a lot of this movie, it could have happened anywhere. Where the first one, there was a little bit of the rap battle aspect to it that I liked, and I lamented last year, but the entire time of like the missed opportunity of just the Leprechaun being a producer, a rap hip hop producer. This one, outside of kind of like the hydraulic car and just obviously a predominantly black cast, I was just kind of wondering, why did this movie need to be set in the hood? Like, why did this narrative have to be there? Like it was the sort of thing when I was watching it, I just felt like it was another missed opportunity with these Leprechaun movies in the hood. It's
a good question, although that's kind of funny that you feel that way, because I had a different feeling on it.
Me too.
Really?
The humor
what did I miss?
For me.
As someone that's entire childhood and teenage years was consuming predominantly black cinema and especially like bad hood movies, I thought this felt way more like a hood movie than the first one did. Now,
all right, well maybe my idea is like a white dude's perception of the hood. Is that what I'm missing out on? It's not like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas or some shit,
I was gonna say, to me, I agree with Ro, because it feels more organic, like they're not trying to inject like quote unquote hoodness into it. It's sort of just there.
This is the whitest episode we've ever done. This is brutal.
We're going straight to the top with this.
Yeah,
no, and I mean, I didn't, unfortunately, the guy's letterbox, like he doesn't have a picture or anything, but I'm going to make a wild assumption and say there's a good possibility the director of this is black. I saw his other movies are like some direct-to-video, like black cinema also. It's like romance.
I beseech thee, go on IMDb and you can see a picture.
And I mean, obviously, we talked about with the first one, right? It was like this super white guy that made the first one. So I thought it had more of an authentic feel to it. And maybe that's also like, I actually recognize some of the people in this as, we kind of laughed when we did the first one, right? Because it was like these guys rapping that obviously weren't rappers or anything, and they weren't very good. And I think we all agreed in when we did in the hood one, we thought Warwick Davis was the best rapper out of anybody in that movie. Where this one, like, I knew the people right away. Like I knew Jamie was Paige Kennedy, who is like an actor and a actual rapper. And I mean, like, Paige Kennedy he was in Blue Mountain State, the TV show that was like a big football TV show. He's in the Meg movies. Like, he's been in some stuff. Sticky Fingers is in this, which I'm pretty sure he was in like something else we talked about recently. Yeah. I can't even think of what it is, but I'm pretty sure. I'm like, why am I thinking about Sticky Fingers more than once?
Is it some documentary you watched on Netflix or something, maybe?
I don't remember. I thought it was in a movie that we reviewed, like, literally, like, less than a couple months ago. I'd have to go back and look. But, I mean, Sticky Fingers, I'm telling you, I literally had this conversation a couple months ago on the podcast because he's a member of Onyx. Or maybe it was Frederick Starr.
No, it was. Yes, you did bring this up.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't know what it would have been, but whatever it was. Yeah, like, I mean, so I thought at least you had some credibility there. And with that, I thought it was an interesting tactic and maybe a little more unproblematic not to shoehorn the rap stuff into it, where the rap stuff is really like the white guy saying like hello. He's the guy that's saying hello, my ninjas. That's the guy that's saying that.
Ro, it's because you talked about watching Clockers.
Oh, that is
when you
exactly
watched
what it is.
And you were saying
about watching Clockers, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I just thought this kind of had an authentic feel to me more so than the first one. But, I mean, that's also just me.
I agree that it's like they're not trying too hard to like insert it in the movie like they were in the previous one. But what really works for me for this one was the way they incorporated the humor. To me, it was just like very much like scary movies, like White Chicks, like the Wayans Brothers, like type of humor, and I love that shit. And that's like probably the highlight of the movie for me, is because it was funny, just like seeing the leprechaun like smoke a bong. It's like so stupid, but I feel like it lends itself.
And then shove the bong in some guy's chest.
Yeah, I feel like it lends itself to that concept, and that's kind of what I want to see, more moments like that. I think it's hilarious.
There's basically like a whole comic routine of him with the bong in the kitchen as like the guy's making a sandwich as they keep like rotating like just outside of each other's eye line into eventually like the punchline of him getting shoved in the fridge, and then he's just fine with being in the fridge because he has the bong, so he's just ripping the bong in the fridge. I agree with you. This one had a lot of intentional comedy in it. I don't know if I'd go so far to compare it to like the Wayans Brothers or the parody movies, but there is definitely some lowbrow humor in it from time to time. For example, just Doria ripping ass in the massage parlor as the leprechauns coming in and acting as her masseuse. Some of those very high concept jokes, very hard to grasp and
intellectual
tackle.
Yeah,
exactly.
I figured Jill would be really sad because I don't think there's a limerick anywhere in this.
That's
my first note for, well, I have a bunch of notes, but then I have talking points. My very first and only talking point is, where are the limericks? ?
That's what the people want when they watch these movies. I think that's like one of the things that makes a good, it's one of the things is having the lore in like the Leprechaun lore. You need that, and you also need limericks. Not a single limerick was spoken in this movie, and that's just a tragedy.
I don't even know if there was any intentional rhyming at any point. Like
no rapping, nothing.
Yeah, which is weird because rapping would be like a variation on that.
Yeah, it would work.
Yeah, there was nothing. Well, and that's what's kind of weird with this one, right? Is I thought they did a lot of lore work that I liked, but I was like, it also seems like they took kind of all the essence of the leprechaun that works in all the other stuff and do none of that. Like there's no like rhyming limericks that are kind of funny. Now it's hard to say because you don't want to sit here and be like, oh, like Leprechaun 2 was the comedy was just so highbrow, but it was highbrow compared to this. Like they just use real lowest common denominator stuff here, and also almost no magic. They've pretty much taken all the magic away from him. He doesn't really use it to kill anybody. Like, I kind of noticed he's more of just a slasher in this, slasher villain than he is magical.
Well, yeah, because there was one moment when, after he kills the cops and he's like chasing them and he's like, oh, I guess I'll just get there by using this cop car. I'm like, what? Why are you driving a car? You are a magical leprechaun. You like are older than Christianity. Like, come on. What did you do before there was cars?
Yeah, that was something that I was missing throughout this one. Basically entirely. The only bit of magic we get is if he's getting shot with bullets and he can just like reheal himself. He can suck in the gold coins, gold rings back into himself, or Esmeralda with the lightning. She turns into a Sith at that one point in the movie and just starts shooting lightning at him. That was incredible stuff. I was missing a bit of that in the movie. And even in his kills, they just came off as really lazy to me. I know we mentioned the bong in the chest, but there's so many kills in this movie that are essentially like him punching through somebody off camera or just grabbing their neck and then you put in the neck break sound effect. It's very lazy, cheap kills. I think the only one at all I liked was ripping the cop's leg off. Just because it was very silly and very like comedically staged, where he just spins him and rips off the leg, and then he uses it to drive this car across town, which I thought was pretty fun. But by and large, like the leprechaun carnage in this movie just didn't hit for me.
I was thinking like 1 and 2 and even 3. Like there was kind of like there was some gore to them as well. Like they were these kind of gory, silly films, and even the cop's leg, like there's not a lot of gore to it. Like they don't really show anything. I kind of thought the goriest thing in this obviously is when he rips off one of the girl's like jawbones, but you don't see it. He just like throws the jawbone on the ground afterwards.
It's also the wrong jaw for getting the gold tooth out of.
I did notice that. I thought maybe he just ripped that off. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Even the Bond thing, like, I'm curious. So when he put, hit the guy with the bomb, put it through his stomach, was there any of you guys, any part of you that was expecting him to, like, somehow smoke this bomb or something with this guy attached to it?
That would be
I thought
sick.
for sure. Which, if there's one thing listeners need to take away from this movie, from this podcast, I really want to give a big shout out to Victor Tongund, who plays that stoner, who icon for me. He's from Can't Hardly Wait. He's the guy that's always like bringing up embarrassing things about Ethan Embry's past in front of Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Oh my God, is that who that is? That's hilarious.
That's who it is. And like the minute I saw him, I just laughed. I was like, holy, what a random like bit part guy that I would recognize just from an icon.
I will say one bit of gore that we
icon.
didn't mention. It's not pure gore in terms of the leprechaun dealing carnage, but he does get an electric razor shoved in his eye at one point, and there's a bunch of green blood spewing out all over the place, and then he picks up his eye, and he says something along the lines of like, "Fear not, these Irish eyes will be smiling again soon," or something like that. That was a little bit of gore there.
Yeah.
It was a funny moment. Yeah, and the heart.
Like a heart one.
Exactly. Yeah, he rips the heart out of somebody. But yeah, it's not back to like Leprechaun 2 and 3 where he's inflating people or filling them with coins or bursting out of their belly, or it's just we've lost the thread on these magical leprechaun kills, and it's very disappointing.
Oh yeah, like no magic at all. And that was like, I think, another like pillar of the Leprechaun movies is you gotta have like a little bit of fantasy in there, and they try to do that with this like psychic witchy lady, but I want to see the Leprechaun using magic, and I don't know, like the things that they get into. They could have done a lot of silly things that would have led itself to the humor that they're using here. So yeah, I think it's a missed opportunity.
Mentioning the humor, I just have a single line written down that I think this is crazy. Someone off the cuff goes, "Time to go fuck up some little people." And,
so I
and they storm
had
off.
that also written.
Yeah, I'm like, that is a crazy line.
Didn't age well.
There was also a line that I liked as well, where we're kind of just talking about like the comedy, where he goes, "Oh, what about my dead wife?" And they go, "Don't worry, she'll still be dead tomorrow. Come on." That was like a little line earlier in the movie I liked as well.
I like that one too. I also like when the cops arrest that guy in the beginning, and they like the cops get all the weed in this like giant bag.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And they're like grilling him on having it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my mom's Italian. She likes to use a lot of oregano or whatever." I don't know. I love that kind of.
I thought that was hilarious.
shit.
Yeah. I love a good weed oregano joke.
Yeah, one of my cousins, when we were growing up, he managed to convince my aunt that he had a little baggie of basil in his room. That it wasn't weed, and she believed him. And I remember I came over a couple days later because I was like, "Oh man, he's gonna get in shit." And she was mentioning to my mom about how it was very strange that he had a little baggie of basil in his room. And my mom didn't like break the news to her either, so I don't know. I guess he just was taking up cooking. I don't know.
Bless her heart, didn't rat on him.
Now I did see they did use like a new outfit on the Leprechaun in this one. I saw that it was because they wanted him to look like more demonic because of the lore. And, I didn't mention it about at the beginning, but like I actually kind of like the scene where he's like getting pulled into the ground by like all the hands, and he's like getting sent to hell.
Did you like the reverse when he's getting resummoned and they just play the scene in reverse? and they do the thing where the ground shifts and then they replay it backwards, to make the ground shift back and forth. All that, that was some great filmmaking,
wasn't it?
There's so many like funny, just like not just the filmmaking, but funny little plot points that I thought were like very convenient things. Like when the lead, like when she falls down into the hole for the first time, and all I kept thinking about, I'm like, what stroke of luck, she falls into this hole in this abandoned build for a youth center, and it's just like a storage unit full of candles. It's just that's all this youth center was going to have was candles in their storage rooms. And it was just like perfect. I also thought it was really funny too, the chest of gold. It's like so small in this, like
it's
in
tiny.
every other movie.
I know.
It's
I
huge.
made a note about that. I was like, remember the huge treasure chest they had in like
Yeah.
the first 3 or 4 movies? Like,
We're on a budget, honey.
It literally looks like a little lunchbox you'd bring to work as like a construction worker. You know, it's I
my
saw it. I was like,
God.
oh, that's cute.
your
You know,
thermos
someone
of
painted a
coffee in
lunchbox.
there.
What he makes up for it in size, he makes up for in other areas. You know, it's not all
Oh,
about the
you're
size
right.
of the lunchbox.
I did like, though, about it, like, refilling, like, the gold coins refilling when you emptied it. Because obviously, yeah, when it was that small, I was like, oh, well, this is kind of stupid because there's only so many gold coins in this tiny box.
Mhm.
And, you know, it doesn't really seem like that big of a deal. But I did like the idea that, you know, just like the Leprechaun's this, like, mythical being, that it's like, yeah, this thing restores and just reboots its coins, so you could just have endless coins.
The only magic.
Yeah,
in the
really,
movie.
Do you think paying a sex worker in gold is appropriate?
2004?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. What's the price of gold? I'm sure it's worth it. I mean, they said it was
Oh,
worth like...
don't get me wrong. I bet it was a great tip. It was just...
Are you
it was
asking?
a funny little moment.
Are you asking about the movie, or is this a personal question, or
personal.
Well, you know, I'm just seeing.
just seeing what's up? I was curious with killing, because I was trying to remember in the other ones, like, he kills them like because they had the coins and they spent them. But I was like, in the other ones, doesn't he, like, he kills whoever like has possession of the coins normally, isn't it? It's like, if you don't have the coins, he usually isn't coming after you first.
Yeah, he's mean now for no reason.
Yeah, so I thought that was a little interesting, a little different, which would make more sense that, like, if you touch the coins and you've spent them, that you're going to pay the price.
Well, it's kind of a boring movie if he's just going around from pawn shop to pawn shop, just killing pawn shop owners. I don't know. I was fine with this change.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that it didn't work for me. I was like, oh, this is like another little bit that I think they've kind of changed in this.
Well, I'm sure all this lore they've established in this movie will carry over into the next movie. It'll be well worth our
100%.
time. Yeah.
I'm looking at my notes, like, I also noted that I did look up the soundtrack for this. I'll let you know, I recognized like one person.
Oh, that's it?
I only recognized one artist.
And you
it
have
was
an
like
encyclopedic knowledge.
It was like, yeah, you've got to be in the weeds here. Like, it's like a hip hop artist called Zion One that I don't think was popular. I think I've seen them featured on a song when I was a teenager. But I will say, I thought the music was better than the first one, because I thought it seems they used probably just like local hip hop artists for the music, and it sounded more, it was actual like hip hop music, where I feel like the other one, it was like not at all. In fact, I remember us making the comment that we found out it was just like a white guy making beats for the...
Yeah, it was. It was
Damn.
embarrassing.
So I was like, oh, this sound, the score sounds more like what they're trying to invoke in terms of the musical style.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, too, another bit of gore I did have written down, or at least, it hurt me deep in my soul personally, was when the Leprechaun ends up stabbing Jamie in the leg with the, like, right in the shin with, like, the broken bat or whatever. That, like, hurt my soul, because I thought that looked pretty brutal. I was like, oof, that
there was
really...
a lot of stabbing in this movie,
Yeah.
actually. A lot of penetration.
Well, like I said, and that's why I feel like it played way more like a slasher than it did kind of this, like, mystical being killer. It was way more just like...
It was like Child's Play.
Hiding in your house. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
100% like Child's Play. Although I don't ever remember Chucky, people trying to kill Chucky with the hydraulics in a car.
That was a great action sequence. I thought it was so funny the way it was filmed, where you could see that he was against the poorly lit green screen, so you see all the artifacting around him as he's dragging along on the car, and then the hydraulics kept changing.
Oh, every time they cut to that, I lost it.
Oh, it was so good. That was such a fun, stupid chase sequence, action sequence there. I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed when somehow they electrocuted the leprechaun like viciously with the fluorescent tube in the elevator.
Yeah.
You know, just like hanging down. They break it and somehow just electrocute him like so much. I was just, I'm no electrician, but I was kind of like, I feel like it doesn't really work this way, but that's fine. Whatever.
I think you may be right about that.
I can't stop thinking about Jill watching this like censored version.
Dude.
And they have that whole scene with Jamie like talking about like how you say my ninja now. How funny that scene would be just edited, and you're like,
'cause I didn't know.
On?
I didn't know if they were actually saying my ninja to like censor what they were actually saying. So yeah, it was very confusing watching this movie censored.
And Emily, like we got to talk about Emily for a second, because
Erica.
Emily, no, it's Emily, isn't it?
I'm kidding. It's a joke.
It's where they get the names wrong.
Yeah.
You know, they make Emily out as like, you know, Emily's like the heroine of this story. But Money changed Emily extremely quickly in this. Like, she's judging everyone else, telling them, like, not, you know, oh, you can use a little bit of this money so you can get a car, so you can go to school. It's like all these things. And then the immediate scene, like, Emily's on, like, Rodeo Drive, just fucking
like she's in Clueless. With the bags, like, shopping with Dion.
Shop till she drops.
Yeah.
Decked out in designer outfits. Yeah.
I just kept thinking about that 50 Cent quote that, like, if money doesn't change you, you haven't made enough.
Oh.
I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, no, I don't know anything about that either. So Emily does, though. Emily knew all about it. And then, yeah, I don't know. She was fawning over Rory. I didn't really get it. Rory was giving me, like, heavy 1997 DMX Rough Riders feels. He was on, like, the motorbike, doing motorbike tricks and stuff.
It wasn't great.
There's some beautiful romantic loving shots though of them together on the motorcycle at the end. Wow, just sending the movie out on a high note. It was just so beautiful.
What I didn't expect in this movie was what I thought was the most problematic thing maybe in this movie, which wouldn't be, you know, when I come into Leprechaun back #2 THA the Hood, I'm thinking of all the possible problematic things that are going to go on here. And I was like, I didn't have it on my bingo card that it would be, I even asked myself, I was like, the Leprechaun, does he punch too many girls in this movie? Because he's literally just like, every girl gets punched in the face in this movie. And it's pretty wild.
It's because they hit like a wee lass.
Oh my God. That was a golden moment for sure in this movie.
My favorite is like how they just fast cut it, and then the guy's so tired he's like dying and he's just like sweating.
I know. I was like, what, did I miss something? I know I looked at my phone for a second, but like, come on.
I also liked the many times in this movie that we kept looking at, we had like, I called it Chekhov cement. We had to make sure
Oh my
we
God.
knew that.
She was throwing it in the cement. And I was like, girl, what the fuck? This cement is like literal water, by the way.
Well, no, like not only were he throwing stuff in the cement, like sometimes the camera would just look at the cement from like up on the building, and it's like, okay, why are we just looking at the cement?
I kept saying to myself, that looked like a pile of wet cement, but they just cut to it and then nothing happened with it. I was like, did I actually see that? Foreshadowing for sure.
What was funny about it is I didn't really piece it together either. That I wrote down, I said, oh, Leprechaun melting with his gold is so sad, but I guess a good ending. And then it's like the next line is like, nothing like a fire to warm the soul. He's back again. So yeah, I mean, it went over my head. You know, you guys are talking about this obvious foreshadowing, Chekhov's concrete. You know, I didn't catch it.
I didn't see it either. I'm just making
too clever
commentary. It was too clever for me as well.
I thought it was interesting too. Like, you know, I watched some of the special feature stuff for this, and you know, read some stuff.
Why?
Why not? Why not?
Ro is I was about to say a sadist. He is also a sadist, but he's a masochist.
You know what? I think when we're done with all these Leprechaun movies, that it really does. That needs to be my next tattoo. We'll like Patreon it, and I'll just get a giant Warwick Davis Leprechaun tattoo.
Listen,
my whole back.
Mike needs to get a new laptop first. These are crazy ideas.
Right. You can actually get life-size Warwick Davis on your own body.
Yeah, that's
probably.
right. There you go.
Fit fine.
But I just think it's funny, and good for him. Like, just like the first one of these of the Hood ones, like Warwick Davis seemed to really enjoy his time doing this one. He said he really liked it. He enjoyed leaning into the comedy and all that kind of stuff.
Wasn't there something in the first one where he didn't know how to smoke a joint? Did he know how to smoke a bong in this one, or did he have to learn for the movie as well?
I'd hope by the time he got to this that he kind of figured everything out and was like, okay.
The guy is instructing him on how to do it while he's doing it. He is getting a tutorial.
True.
Maybe they just filmed it.
Just for my freaks out there, too, I just wanted to let you know that someone had to make sure when I was looking up stuff on IMDb, I made a note that someone made sure to log in on like the trivia about the movie, that this is the only one in the franchise that the Leprechaun shows his bare feet. So for all you feet freaks out there,
gonna have to bump it up by half a star.
Oh, yeah.
You got to give him that.
And Ro
feet.
did not mean freaks derogatory. He meant complimentary.
No, I meant
complimentary.
Complimentary. If you like
in solidarity
Hobbit-esque hairy feet, this is the movie for you.
I actually thought he was gonna kill her by digging his toes of his feet
100%.
into
So
like
did
the
I.
base of her spine or something,
Yeah, they really missed out on it to use that. And my last piece of real fun trivia about this one that I had looked at was in an interview with Tony Todd. Tony Todd said the studio did approach him to do Leprechaun versus Candyman.
Oh my god!
Basically right after Jason versus Freddy had come out, and they were like, "What can we do next?" And they were like, "This is it." And it didn't happen because Tony Todd didn't want to do it.
We could have had something.
Yeah, I thought my love for Tony Todd was eternal, and it's taken down a little bit by that information. I bet Warwick would have been 100% down to do it.
I haven't seen Candyman 2 and 3, but are they that good that they wouldn't be able to mesh with Leprechaun 8 or 7, whatever it would have been?
I need to describe it to you like this.
It's been a couple years since I've seen 2, but 2 isn't great, but 2 isn't like terrible. I don't think they're just very different tones. Now 3 is rough. Like 3, I'm pretty sure like there's like porn stars and stuff is like main
Colton,
actresses.
have you ever seen the drawing of the horse where the back half of the horse is like a beautiful artist's drawing, and then the front of it is like a child stick drawing? That's what Candyman is.
Oh my god.
Candyman 2 is like just in the middle, and then Candyman 3 is literally the child's like kindergarten crayon drawing of the front of the horse.
Drops off.
Yeah, it's like 2, you don't need to see it, but like if you had the opportunity, or if someone's like, "Oh, let's watch Candyman 2," like it'd be fine. It's actually not a bad sequel, but Candyman 3 is just absolutely plummets off the cliff of quality. Ro said porn stars are in it, but it's actually Baywatch people, which is probably worse than porn stars, because porn stars do way more work than Baywatch people.
If not Candyman, who should have Leprechaun went up against in his Freddy versus Jason sort of
I think Jill
Chucky?
nailed it. I think Chucky would have been
appropriate height. That's like the obvious answer.
I mean, or like maybe like I don't know, like the puppets and Puppet Master. So you'd have all the puppets, and then you'd have Courtney Cox leading them into battle.
Leprechaun versus Michael Myers. Just
That'd be
complete
quiet.
clashing tones.
Yeah.
Just miserable experience.
You know who else would kind of be good, though, is Leprechaun versus Freddy Krueger. Like, because they're both, like, quippy, and, like, they're just kind of the same vibe.
Yeah,
I want to go Leprechaun versus Cujo.
Just there you go.
I don't know, seeing the big dog run around, that would be...
Yeah, how do we get Leprechaun into a Joggus pick here? We need to
Leprechaun versus Lake Placid. That probably exists.
Oh my god.
I don't want to look it up.
I mean, I'm looking. Obviously, it's not like we have 80 pages of notes on this.
I think we all ran out of notes like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's just
other
me
than you,
talking.
Ro.
Yeah, it's just me being really
It's just you
excited
asking questions
about it. I did want to say I did read that I thought was kind of interesting that Darren Bousman has like recently talked about how he would like to do an Old West Leprechaun in the Old West. Darren Bousman obviously being my guy that directed Repo, the genetic rock opera, and co-creator of Saw.
Instantly, it'll probably be worse than this.
Was it Saw or Saw 2 he did? He had something to do with the bunch of the Saws. I can't remember now.
Well, it wouldn't be directing.
I thought he
Saw
co-wrote
one,
the first two. I could be wrong.
Saw 2, 3, 4, and Spiral he directed.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, basically he said he'd like Warwick to return and he wants Leprechaun in the Old West, which I think is an appropriate place to go. Just like Back to the Future, just like the Ninja Turtles, just go way back to the past. Do something fun like that.
Do Army of Darkness past.
Ash versus the Leprechaun. There you go.
Actually, yes, that works.
Yeah, that would have worked.
I think we hit
that
it
would have
right
been
there.
all right. I think you landed on the most appropriate pick there, Jill.
Us picking that brilliant pick. Is this where we should like appropriate land the plane, the rate it now, and on the
I
high
think
note?
so. I mean, what else can you really discuss about this movie?
Well, if you're new to the podcast, our rating system is nay, okay, yay, or slay. Colton, you're the resident Leprechaun lover. What would you rate Leprechaun Back to the Hood from 2003?
Listen, I don't know if this movie has too many redeeming qualities, but it wasn't an absolute nightmare to sit through like the last couple. I don't think it's very good. I don't know if I'd be able to basically, in the whole pantheon of cinema, basically say like it's an all right movie. But compared to these Leprechaun movies that we've been suffering through, I think this one was okay. I think the comedy was decent. There was a couple of moments with the kills or the gore, or, playing with like the officer's leg that was ripped off. That was enjoyable. And even though for me, it didn't look like my white man's interpretation of the Hood, I still did enjoy the movie overall as like an okay Leprechaun movie. If you check my letterbox, it's still probably like a 2-star movie, but for our show and the rest of the Leprechaun movies, I'm gonna give it an okay. Jill, you're nodding along. I think you enjoyed this Leprechaun movie as well a little bit.
Yeah, well, first of all, it is quite blasphemous, sacrilegious to have a Leprechaun movie with 0 limericks, basically 0 magic, and there was no rap battle, and that would have been fun. But apart from that, like you said, I agree. The last Leprechaun in the Hood, up to no good, that was complete dog shit. So this is a lot better than that, and I had fun. Like, I love the stupid humor. Those things like that I look forward to. Like, it does turn into this like slasher. Could have been more gory, could have been more mean if he's just killing people. Even for not having his gold, I feel like he could have been like really fucking mean, like territory. But it was way better than the last one. Probably not as good as like the rest of them, but it was decent. Yeah. So yeah, it's an okay for me as well. Mike, what about yourself? How do you rate it?
Okay, so I'm jumping on board this train, and honestly, when I only watched it today, and I watched half of it on the bus, as I wrote in our group chat.
Yes.
I said, I'm watching this as they intended, on my phone, on the bus.
I'll approve watching this on the bus. This is not needed to be seen on
it's like the blasphemy of Jaws.
Beautiful TV.
Cinema.
Yeah.
I approve of it because I like to think people around you are like looking. They're like, what's that guy watching? And then you just kind of build a community. Like you're just building
on the bus,
lore of Leprechaun to everybody.
It's like the Pied Piper, but for Leprechaun.
I like this world you've have built, Rowan, where people would actually give a shit about Leprechaun on Mike's phone, as if this movie is so engaging that everyone on the bus just has to turn their head.
Let's talk about those sequels.
Yeah. It is a novelty, though, for like people who don't know what it is. I feel like if they've never heard of it and they like see it, they're gonna be like, what the hell? There's a horror movie about a leprechaun. Like, sign me up just for curiosity's sake.
And he's gone back to the hood.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir, is this his first time there?
Wait, so you're telling me he's been to the hood before?
And he's back. Back again.
But yeah, I was fully, because like, you know, the last one was just so dreadful. I was like, this is going to be a like maximum half to 1 star movie. Like just the worst nay of all time. And honestly, it was okay. The bar was literally underground, and it somehow exceeded those expectations.
Helps.
Honestly, it had a decent cast of characters. There was some women in it, which was nice. I actually thought even though it was obviously very poorly written, I thought, you know, the actors did a decent job. I thought some of the kills were fun. I thought it knew how stupid it was and leaned into it. So I don't ever really want to watch it again. But like, it wasn't the complete waste of like 89 minutes or whatever that I thought it was going to be. So I'll give it a little bit of credit and a little bit of grace and give it an okay instead of an A. Ro, I need you to bring this home. Bring it home.
I love this. I love this for us because I also am giving it an okay, and I was so worried that I was going to be the only one. I was like, everyone's going to give it an A. I enjoyed watching it. Like, I really didn't like that the first time we were in the hood, and you know, you kind of brushed on it, Mike, really eloquently. That my thoughts about it. To me, this knew what it was. Where I think with the first one, it was kind of like the director and the writer, like the joke was on everyone else in the movie, that they were in this like hood leprechaun movie, where this one felt like the actors and everyone are in on the joke. Yes. And how silly it is. It didn't
feel mean.
Yeah. Like, it just felt like a more honest approach. And yeah, I thought it was like, you know, for the 6th entry in a Leprechaun franchise, I thought it was pretty entertaining. I was definitely not like bored. It wasn't like super long or anything. It held my attention. I'll mention, you know, my daughter Nev, she watched like the last 20 minutes with me. Like, I was watching really early in the morning. She woke up. She was on her computer or whatever, and then she was glaring over, and then she finally stopped what she was doing, came over and watched. It was super funny because she had no idea what was going on. It was basically like the fight on the roof. That's where she entered. And she was like fully invested. She's like, oh, I hope nothing happens to the girl. That's my girl. That's my girl. And I'm like, you just saw, you haven't seen any of this movie, but okay. But yeah, she said the finale scene that she watched, she said it was okay. That was her rating also. She said, wow. It's okay. But yeah, so, quadruple okays, unanimous okays. I think that's better than Leprechaun Back to the Hood ever thought it could do on It's Slay's podcast. We've really grown as people, I believe. Maybe Colton's wishing for the days that we were doing like the first Leprechaun now. I'm
just wishing for the days of Leprechaun 3.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, those days are regular in your head at night, so...
Exactly.
Yeah. So we told you what we thought about Leprechaun Back to the Hood, and it's your turn to tell us what you thought about it. And I think we only had 2 answers come in for this one, unfortunately. So Whorehound Holly P wrote in, and all she said was, "Will this finally be the Leprechaun I watch?" Oh. She never responded to let us know. So, Holly, you gotta let us know for next episode. Did you end up watching it? Because I kind of think it would be super funny if this is your entry point into the series.
What an insane place to start the series. The 6th entry. Back to the Hood.
I love it. Absolutely love it. And then Justin Scarmardo on Slasher wrote in, and they said, it's a fun watch. Would it be my go-to Leprechaun? Not by any chance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 100%.
That's fair.
The first 3 are pretty good. Those are pretty fantastic. And then you're it's some low-hanging fruit for the rest of them so far.
Listen, in the second Leprechaun trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, they end on a high note.
That's right.
3. Yeah.
I can't wait, just like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, when they split these into dual 4K box sets of the original trilogy and then the second trilogy. That'll be really exciting. So for questions, we did also have some questions come in from Shea Brigade member Sam over on the Patreon. Had a couple just random horror questions for us to answer that they have patiently waited. We were going to do a last episode and Mike's laptop was down, and we felt you really would want Mike's response. So luckily you were patient with us. So the first question was, I've gotten really into vinyl lately and am seeing a ton of horror movie scores and soundtracks. Would love to get your guys' opinions on the best horror soundtracks or composers. And I'm assuming just, probably vinyl mixed in that, or assuming they're on vinyl.
Before anybody says it, dibs on It Follows. Just because that's an OG. I'm not a big horror soundtrack listener. If I'm listening to a horror soundtrack, especially if it's more ambient orchestral stuff, it's usually I'm just writing and just trying to get in that headspace. But the Disaster Piece score for It Follows was one of the few things that I would listen. It was always in my rotation back in 2014, 2015. And that would be one I would certainly pick up. For more like your normal, just once again, like a great horror soundtrack, just orchestral stuff, I do think The Witch's score is insane. Yeah. When I was watching it back, especially like Mark Corvin, I think he created his own instruments and stuff to like make that score. It is incredibly unnerving. We probably did talk about it a bit on our episode. I mean, it's been years since we've recorded that, so I don't know. But that movie will show like a shot of a tree, and the score is so all-consuming and so unnerving that like the shot of this tree is terrifying, or the shot of a rabbit in the middle of a trail. So there's a couple off the top of my head. I'll keep thinking as the other people chime in.
I was just going to add, obviously, I think all of us would say It Follows. It Follows, I remember I bought the vinyl the day it came out. It was like an automatic.
Yeah.
I have to have it. Another one that's probably number 2 for me in terms of ones I own in terms of vinyl and just scores that I listen to all the time is, and it's on a beautiful red vinyl too, if you can find it, like this cool colored vinyl, is the score for the horror science fiction film Beyond the Black Rainbow.
I knew you were going to say that.
By Jeremy Schmidt is the composer, and that is an all-timer for me. It is so good. Someday, that has been on my long list since year one. It's just a fan. It's just super fantastic for scores. That is my 2 contributions to the conversation.
Yeah, for me, I love 2000s horror and they're like new metal soundtracks, basically. So obviously Queen of the Damned, I got that one kind of recently. They reissued it. But also my friend came over like last month and he brought over his Freddy vs. Jason vinyl and put that on. And everyone was just like having a great time, just like singing along and reminiscing. So I think stuff like that is really fun. Also own like a couple of Stranger Things vinyls, so it's adjacent, but those are really great too.
Yeah, those are all excellent choices for sure. I don't have something specific to recommend, but more of like a way that you can curate your collection and shop for them while maintaining true to like your own personal taste. So my advice is for like horror soundtracks on vinyl, I usually go for obviously scores and stuff, but as Jill was saying, stuff like Queen of the Damned and stuff like that have really great, like, pop songs or rock songs or what have you are really good, especially go to like if you have people over and you're just like spinning some vinyl. For scores and the like, I would go more for kind of two avenues. One is stuff that's really super iconic and that you should have as a staple, you know, things like a Halloween or a Nightmare on Elm Street thing, you know, Friday the 13th, stuff like that. Suspiria. Yeah, and I was gonna say, and the other one is actually stuff like foreign and art house films, like a lot of Italian horror, like Suspiria. I actually have an original 70s Suspiria vinyl that somebody gave to me for Christmas like 10 years ago.
Nice.
She found it online. It's wild, and it's an Italian one too, so it's like all written in Italian. I find there are a lot of really great, like, smaller boutique labels online now that cater to people like us. And, you know, you'll have things like Mondo and Terror Vision and Waxworks, and they do like almost exclusively film soundtracks and like horror and thrillers, sci-fi, things like that. And they do a lot of limited editions. So it'll be like blood spattered, or, you know, like different weird like colors that are significant to the movie, like red on one side and purple on the other or whatever. And I would follow like Mondo and TerraVision and stuff like that online, because as soon as they put up a soundtrack, you can go, is this something that I would love to have a physical copy of as an aesthetic thing to spin? And if they do, buy it, because with horror soundtracks on vinyl, they will go out of print. Like, they'll go out of stock in like 6 or 7 months, maybe a year. And you will either never get them again, or you'll have to pay literally hundreds of dollars for them. I was going to buy back in the day. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it might have been Terror Vision, or somebody put out one of my favorite soundtracks, Slumber Party Massacre, on this really cool vinyl. And like the sleeve was really cool. And I think it was like a pink vinyl or something, and I kind of put it off for 8 or 9 months, and then I didn't really have money to be spending on vinyl, and then when I did, I went online and it was gone everywhere. And I always go on eBay or like Amazon used ones and like to try to find it, and it's like, I'm not paying $300 for this. So yeah, my advice is curate your collection based on maybe following some of those boutique labels, like on Instagram, or I guess they're on Facebook, Twitter, stuff like that, and just set up an account there. And if you see something that's like, oh, that's really cool, like I really like that movie, or that's a new movie I liked, or one of my favorite classics, buy the vinyl that way, and then it'll be a collector's item. That is my advice.
And quickly, before we move on, I thought about it a little bit more. I got to shout out all 3 of Jordan Peele's movies. For scores, specifically like Get Out, where it mixes kind of like this choral bluesy notes of like the opening themes into Redbone, or in Us and Nope, both of just the title sequences, like in Us where you're panning out from all the rabbits on the wall, or in Nope where you're inside of the creature as it's going through the sky. Both of the tracks for those movies, I'm not a huge fan of Us, but it's just like spectacular stuff. And Nope is really inspired because it's like horror and Western and sci-fi, and it's super strange. So I think all of those are worth like a listen to see if they should make your rotation, like when you're looking for some vinyls.
In Sam's follow-up question was also, while on the subject of physical media, I'm thinking of starting to collect my favorite films, and am wondering what your take is on when it is worthwhile to invest in a special edition, such as director's cuts, commentary, or other extras, Blu-ray and 4K, or even what you think about things like Laserdisc or other vintage media forms. And they were just curious to hear which horror films we've splurged on or collect, and why. So yeah, I mean, you're definitely, I feel like you're getting in me and Mike territory for sure here, as the guy with, you know, like 2,000 physical copies.
Yeah, Ro, you definitely need to take this on first as the biggest collector I know.
Yeah, Rowan, I want to know specifically what Sam was saying. Do you have any metric to where you go, you know what, I'm going to actually splurge on this director's cut? Or do you just basically buy everything? Like, it feels to me as an outsider looking in, you just buy whatever.
I know, that's pretty much what it is. It's pretty much what it is. If it's cheap enough, I'll buy it. I mean, I'm a bad one to ask, especially with horror, because pretty much my horror thing is like, if there's a physical media release of any horror movie, like, if I could, I would like to own like every horror movie ever possible. Mm-hmm. Now, I do splurge on like really nice editions of things that are like films that are super important usually to me in my younger life, or just something that's stuck around, because I really am a cheap collector. Like, I usually buy used or just... I don't buy, like, if there's a special edition or just, like, an edition I can pick up at Walmart, like, I'll just pick up the edition at Walmart for way cheaper. But I have splurged, like, I'm thinking, you know, I paid like $70 for a special edition of Drop Dead Fred from Vinegar Syndrome. That's, like, one of my all-time favorite movies. I've bought multiple in every form, like Blu-ray, DVD, 4K, like I've bought Criterion 4K of like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That's one I've always owned. Dazed and Confused, just like iconic stuff like that. I think you're pretty safe with your investment if you're looking at like companies that do a good job at the restorations and like care about that stuff. So, you know, Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, Criterion, Scream Factory. Like, I collect a lot of Scream Factory. And, you know, even it's hard depending where you're at, right? Where we're in Canada, we don't get everything. Like, if you're in the States, like, even like Warner Brothers and Lionsgate put out like special editions that we don't get here of stuff that you can get there. But I think it's just curating what you like. Buy what you like. Don't be like me. You don't want to be like me and have every movie ever that I've got so many movies that I've never even watched or seen that I'm like, oh, I'll get to it someday. I do collect older forms. I've got DVDs. I've got VHS. VHS, I pretty much only own horror VHS. If I come across it, I buy it. So, you know, I just collect what you love. And, you know, I know lots of people that like, they love Halloween, so they have Halloween on every format they can possibly buy it on. So you just kind of, you know, do what makes you happy at the end of the day.
I agree. For me, it's also, I'm just starting my physical media collection, so I'm a baby at this, but I'm trying to get all the things that I really like first, so like all of my favorites. And Synapse just put out their Frankenhooker, like 4K, so I have that pre-ordered. So I'm looking forward to that, but other things I want to get are like the Criterion like box set of Anora. That looks really cool, and I almost bought it the other day, but I put it back down. I should have gotten it because I keep thinking about it. But just, yeah, all my favorites I'm trying to get. So I think if it's something that's like close to you, you should get it. And also because if there's anything that you're actually going to watch too, it's becoming harder and harder to get those movies on streaming because the platforms always change. So it's good to have like your favorites on hand so you can watch them whenever you want. And also, we went to a horror convention over the weekend and we got a steelbook 4K of Thanksgiving for $80. And I think that's like going on eBay for like $100 more or something. So been looking to get that one for a while and it's been kind of hard to get.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been collecting Blu-rays for quite a few years now, but it wound up turning into the thing where eventually when 4K came out, I started to get into the idea of like, am I going to replace my collection? Am I just going to kind of size down and like start just buying a few movies that I want each year? Essentially, when I got a PS3, I was just buying up every single Blu-ray of any movie that I thought was important. And then eventually, as the years went on, I started downsizing into my top 10 or top 15 of each year. But you know, it's becoming harder and harder to get a lot of these movies. Like, there's movies that I really enjoyed, like, I don't know, The Devil's Bath or The First Omen or some of these newer horror movies. They're hard to get on any release. I try and get my top 10 each year, but, you know, sometimes they're harder to find than others. Some areas in which I guess I've splurged a little bit is, I think I own The Lighthouse on, like, 3 different versions. One is, like, the more expensive A24 one. I think I have like the Arrow copy that was more expensive, and then the regular like Blu-ray release. I'm one of those people that I have the Talk to Me party hand, you know, like the that you could like smoke, that you smoke out of. I ordered it for, I think it was like 110 US, and then it got shipped to me and it was broken when it got to me, and then I got another one shipped to me. So I had like multiple party hands. Throughout the years, I've been more so like, I get fixated on a cover that I really like. So for example, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4K, I didn't really like the Steelbook version, but I liked the one with the slipcover of the eye, you know, kind of
Yeah,
like wide.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I
yeah.
love the color and the composition and just like the terror, the way it's like portrayed in the image. So I sought that one out. Or, you know, the Substance on 4K, I picked that up. You know, there's a lot of these things are just like, I pick them up. They're anywhere from $40 to $50, and it's kind of like if I only buy a few a year, it doesn't really hurt too much. I remember, just because I just mentioned the Jordan Peele movies, I imported the Nope from the US. There was like a Walmart exclusive because I thought all of the artwork for Nope on the Blu-rays looked so terrible, other than one Walmart exclusive in the US that was like the reflection of the UFO and like the horse's eye, that I was like, okay, this one's all right. But I mean, in terms of like an actual splurge, I don't really have anything that I can point out to. I get a lot of the screenplay books for horror movies. I get a lot of like the 4Ks. Every now and then if A24 releases like a unique Blu-ray, I'll pick that up. Weirdly enough, like Jurassic Park should be something that I've definitely splurged on, and I've looked at statuettes of like the T-Rex paddock escape, you know, that have been anywhere from like $300 to $600 over the years, and I've just never pulled the trigger on it. It's like I kind of get really deep into looking into it, and then I keep finding better ones or better deals, and then I just never pull the trigger. Similar, just in a video game world, I've always wanted like a Big Daddy little sister from BioShock, like a big statuette diorama as well. And I've just never got there. So nothing like crazy that I've splurged on, you know, $100 or $130 for the Talk to Me hand when that was, you know, my favorite movie that year when it came out isn't insane, I guess. I don't really collect any of the boutique labels like Vinegar Syndrome or anything like that. It's just every now and then there's a release that catches my eye and I pick it up. Criterion, I guess, is another one, but I only buy Criterion when they have the annual sale as
that's
well.
the only
so
way
it's
to
like
do
I'm not
it.
going all out, you know? So yeah, I mean, I collect physical media. I'm not really someone who goes back and tries to get like, you know, the movies on VHS and beta or anything like that. But the few things I collect are usually just my favorite movies each year, is what I'm kind of pared it down to nowadays. What about you, Mike?
Oh, that's fair. I like everybody's kind of like criteria for how they spend their money because everybody's like wildly different.
Yeah.
I'm kind of part way between everybody here, I think, because Ro is like a massive, like Ro is a black hole of getting physical media, and I respect that. I will razz him for it, but I respect it because at the end of the day, stuff does disappear off streaming all the time, and sure, you can get torrents of a lot of stuff, which I obviously, you know, I have been doing since the dawn of torrents. I'm an OG pirate, like I've been pirating longer than some of you have been alive. Like I pirated the minute I had a computer with the internet. I learned how to pirate. But you know, even then, seeds disappear and then you might never see it again, right? Is the thing. So I spent many years, Colton said PS3 made him buy like everything on Blu-ray. That also happened to me. Then I was in a living situation for a few years where I had absolutely no storage and I had to like donate or give away or throw out a lot of my stuff. I had so many VHS tapes. I threw them in the garbage because I didn't think I'd ever be able to watch them again. I donated hundreds of CDs. I ripped them all onto a hard drive and donated them. All of my DVDs I took and threw away the cases and just put them in like binders, which I regret now because I have all these cool old collector's DVDs that are just in a binder. But I've now that I have a little bit of extra space for them, I bought a VCR about a month ago. I've been picking up stray tapes. Those I find if it's something aesthetic or something from my childhood or something that screams I would have been a VHS like tape classic, I'll buy it. I'll buy any horror I see, but I'm not going to lie. Horror VHS is extremely hard to find right now because there is a secondary market for it and sellers spend literally, they don't have jobs or their job is selling stuff. So they just go around, yank up anyone you can find anywhere and then crank it up like from $3 to $53, right? Don't even go on eBay and try to buy a horror VHS. But I've also been toying with getting, it's funny that, you know, Ro said Laserdisc and stuff. I've been toying with ordering some Laserdiscs of old classic movies that I like that, you know, were some of the few things to ever get put out on Laserdisc because I think it's aesthetic. I don't have a way to play it. I'll probably never find a Laserdisc player in the wild, but I don't know. I think that because you're asking this question, you understand the aesthetic. of having a physical collection as well as the practicality of it, which means you always have access to it. In terms of like 4Ks and Blu-rays, I tend to look for sales. I do get a lot of boutique stuff and Criterion and things like that. My advice is to look out for, there are certain smaller labels that when they put stuff out, it is actually limited edition, and within a year you will not get it anymore. Like Criterion, when they put something out, you can generally get it for 10, 15 years until they lose the rights to it. And if a new edition comes out, like if you have a Blu-ray, they will probably also put out a 4K at some point. So you're generally pretty safe. And, you know, if it's like Scream Factory, their releases are not usually limited edition. Again, they usually have it until they lose the rights. With stuff like Vinegar Syndrome, it's generally numbered. Like if you don't get it in the first year or two, they'll literally run out of them. Like if you go on their website to order it, it'll say like 500 left or whatever. So generally, if it's something that you really enjoy and it has some like really good packaging, I would order the limited edition from people like them. And same thing with Arrow Video. Arrow Video I order a lot of lately. They put a lot of care into both the packaging and the extras. And Arrow Video limited editions, I would jump on those, because if it's a movie you like, they come in really beautiful slip cases, and they usually have a poster come with it too. So like one that I splurged on, for example, recently was one of my favorite movies ever, and that's Ms. 45. So I got the limited edition of that because I wanted the poster to put up on the wall. And the booklets that come with the limited edition on those are really beautiful. They usually have really good essays. Our friend Willow has been in a few, so I've splurged on ones that she's in. Other than that, it's things that are really classic to me, like the Nightmare on Elm Street box set. Ro knows years ago I splurged on, they did Synopsis steelbooks of Demons and Demons 2. So I spent a lot of money on those to order them directly from Synopsis because they were limited to 5,000 copies. Oh, The Beyond is one of my favorite Fulci movies, which we've actually done on this podcast. They did a glow-in-the-dark slipcase 3-disc version that had like a ton of extras and actually came with the CD soundtrack, which again is really cool because a lot of those soundtracks you can't get on streaming. So if you have a CD, you can listen to it on something that plays discs, or rip it if you have a computer that has a CD player, or just have it because it's aesthetic and cool.
Yeah, I saw that one the other day.
I would say if
it's a really nice cover.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Like kind of classic, and yeah, totally worth the extra money. And trust me, it was extra money that I paid for it. But yeah, I would say if it's like something that's actually limited edition and you think that you'd like it in your collection, provided you can afford it, I would jump on it. But if it's something from like a bigger label, like, you know, like a Warner Brothers or something, or even Scream Factory, they're not generally limited edition. So, you know, you can kind of like take that into consideration. But if it's like something small like Vinegar Syndrome, definitely buy it sooner rather than later, and think it's probably worth the extra money because they print less of them. So yeah, that's my advice.
Sam, that should get you started out in the right direction. If you have any more questions, I'm sure we can answer them for you in the chat. I love talking physical media. So, and then the last isn't a question, it's just a comment. OG James, who recently said he's come to accept his fate, which is his nickname is now OG James.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's either OG James or James and James every week. So at least you know which James we're talking about.
But he said we should absolutely get the game episode going. It plays in brackets, and said you should launch it with Requiem. Do you know what that is?
Resident Evil.
That's what I literally talked about. Resident Evil Requiem on this episode.
Okay. Resident Evil. All right, that makes sense. Yeah.
So hopefully OG James enjoys my little mention of that.
He said perfect game for an It Plays episode.
I'm not playing that.
I agree. And maybe when I can finally afford it, I will do that.
Too
there
scary.
You go. But with that, we'll jump over to the horrific hotline, where Nicholas has left a voicemail, and when we're done that, we'll see. I know he had some words for Colton.
Oh no.
So despite knowing way better, I did watch Leprechaun Back to the Hood, and well, I didn't know it could get worse, but it did. So this is by far, so far, the most boring, uninspired, unfunny
Uninspired.
Leprechaun movie there is. And that is coming after Leprechaun in the Hood and Leprechaun in Space and so on. So I'm not sure why you guys keep doing those movies, but from what I gather, there's only 2 more, so it's just 2 more years, and then hopefully we get, I don't know, something
Freedom.
else. I'm really not a fan. So I know that like the first 2 or 3 movies, they have some entertainment value, but it went downhill fast, and I think those movies are okays. Maybe one very slight yay in there if you want to be generous, but Back to the Hood was so boring. I have to admit I was on my phone like 80 to 90% of the movie just watching with one eye. Maybe it's on me. Maybe I didn't get the greater
You just didn't get it. You didn't get how great it is.
It felt super uninspired. I mean, they have this Monty Python-esque sketch with a leg, like in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and it is not funny at all. And
Come
having
on, that was a
someone's
good one.
leg ripped off and then them stumbling towards you like this Black Knight in Monty Python. There is some humor there, and this movie makes it boring. Uninspired, there's almost no gore. I can't remember the name of any character because I found them all to be super boring. And yeah, it's an A. It's gonna be an A. I'm really sad because I hope that at least one of the 2 in the Hood movies of the Leprechaun would be better than the space one. But apparently no, apparently it's just downhill. So I'm not sure how is it WWE who did the next one? Leprechaun movie without the leprechaun and like a strange creature.
Oh, this is a spoiler.
Is going
I know nothing about this one.
Maybe it's better. I guess we'll all see next year. Until then, I'm really looking forward to whatever you pick next, because as long as it's not a sequel to, what was it, Mirror Mirror, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be better for me. Anyways, have a good one, and I am looking forward to your discussion of this movie.
That sounds like a broken man. It sounds like you broke Nicholas.
I thought the fake out of Shark Attack 2, making him watch that instead of whatever we chose that month, would have broke him, but no, he sounds defeated here. 6 Leprechaun movies deep.
He did write in his email, he said, next time one of you is at Berlin Ale, give me a heads up. First drinks on me. So he must be in the area.
Yeah, so no joke, like obviously with his accent, I was thinking of reaching out, but since it was my first time going overseas and it was also on a work trip, I didn't know how busy I was going to be and if I would have like any time really to leave the actual hub. But yeah, I mean, Nicholas, if I'm still doing this podcast the next time I go, which I don't know, I don't think I'll be going next year, but maybe the year after, we'll see. When it makes a little bit more sense for my career, I mean, I'll reach out next time when it was just the first time over there. I had no idea how busy I would be.
I probably wouldn't reach out now because by the sounds of it, you may not come back alive after he's been forced to watch Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
I'm not the one forcing him to watch them. It's you that keeps saying we got to do them. I can't wait for us to finish the Leprechaun movies, and then afterwards we can just choose actually good Irish movies for like horror movies for St.
I think we should
Paddy's Day.
just pick on a different holiday. There's got to be some other. We got to find a franchise of other holiday. I don't know what it would be, but something.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And if you want to be like Nicholas and leave us a voicemail, you can do so by sending it to us at itslaispodcast@gmail.com or sending it to us on any of our socials at itslaispodcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Slasher, Letterboxd, Threads, Bluesky, TikTok. If there's a social media, we're probably there at itslaispodcast. And if you want to help support the show financially, like our horror hounds, Holly, Nicholas, Mark, Steven, Dan, Brian, Trevor, OG James, and Philip, gain access to the Patreon exclusive show Stream Screams, hosted by Jill, and get episodes of the main show 48 hours early. Be sure to head on over to patreon.com/itslaispodcast and choose whatever tier works best for you. Rowan, you said you recognized one artist that was featured on the soundtrack of Leprechaun Back to the Hood. But I'm going to assume probably not making the playlist.
Yeah, I don't think anything on this is making the playlist. Sorry, guys. Sorry to break your heart there, Nicholas, if you were looking forward to some of the music making it. But you can go over to the It Slays Podcast Horrific playlist on Spotify. If you have any problems finding it, you can go to any of the social media that Colton just mentioned. Go into the bio, click the Linktree link, and there's a button that'll take you directly there. We upload scores and licensed music from horror movies we review, horror movies that we love, or just iconic horror movies in general. We update it regularly, so go follow it and get your spooky music on, because why the hell not? And the one last thing I got to promote is we have a new TerrorVision announcement. So March 25th, Lower Sackville, we will be doing giveaways for it. TerrorVision is presenting The Shining. We are doing a screening of The Shining there, and I've got prizes all lined up, a nice little Shining prize pack for someone. Doors open at 6:30, pre-showing the films at 7. Get your tickets, terrorvision.ca. Go on the Instagram, Facebook. There's links there to get tickets. I think they're like $18. It'll be a good time. I've seen The Shining twice in the theater already, and it's spectacular on the big screen. It's made for the big screen.
And the one thing you want to watch when growing your physical media collection is if it grows to quite a size as what Rowan has, you'll have to start sponsoring TerrorVision screenings in order to give some of it away.
Yeah.
So your whole home isn't just overrun.
You're like, oh, this is still in the wrapper? I could give this away. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But with that, all that is left is to announce our upcoming episode. And it is a Mike pick. We are back on a Mike pick. So, Mike, what are you making us watch that hopefully Nicholas can be excited for and has something to live for?
Well, you know what? If you need a reason to live, I'm going to give it to you. If you're looking for a reason to live, it is because next episode we are going to be doing from 1960. Yes, I said pre-2010, Colton.
Damn.
By the icon, the brilliant, the legend, Michael Powell, Peeping Tom.
Peeping Tom,
That's
all right. So, get your eye holes on Peeping Tom, and we will be back in 2 weeks to discuss it. As always, thank you for all the support. I'm your humble host, Rowan.
Bye, it's Mike.
Bye, it's Colton. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, me neither. Bye, it's Jill.
See you later.